Linda. Thank you. There goes another $1,000, Mr. Meyer, for your study bursary fund. Properties. Usually owes you. Linda. But thank you very much. Let me take this opportunity to welcome our Executive Mayor, our three councillors, all the elder ladies, the aldermen, all other councillors, our municipal manager, senior executive and managerial staff, and all other precious staff. Welcome this Friday morning to this meeting on this beautiful day, in the most beautiful area in our country. I really appreciate your attendance, and I wish that people have a productive meeting. I'm looking forward to it. May I please request that we have a moment of silence? When we do that, I ask all men, please, wherever you are, to stand up. The ladies can just bow their heads if they want to. And let's think of those people affected by COVID-19 and gender-based violence as well. Thank you very much. Thank you. I'm now going to request Diana, you can just go in the alphabetical order. Just call every councillor's name, and that they can just respond to say present, or that we can just tick them off. You will not hear the applications for leave of absence before we do that. Councillor Kamte, yes, Councillor Daisy, with study issues, furthering his studies. Councillor Buzak is attending to an urgent matter. You will join us a bit later. These are the applications for leave that I've received. Any others?
Speaker, I've got an application for leave for Tobeka Taisi, who is not feeling well and who is not able to attend today. Yeah.
Thank you, Alderman Verhoeven. That is for Elder Lady Tobeka Taisi. We wish all those struggling with their health speedy recovery. I'm aware of the fact that Councillor Chaba was also unwell, and we hope that she's fully recovered if she's not in attendance yet.
Speaker, sorry for this. I also need to inform you. I also need to inform you, Speaker, that Bito has also got a council meeting today, and Councillor Machela requested to be excused, and because he's got to attend the council meeting there. And then I see that I also got an apology from Councillor Kamti, who's also not well. So I just need to bring that to your attention. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you so much, Alderman. Manager. Speaker, I'm not sure. I personally haven't received any formal notice of my neighbor. Thank you, Alderman Verhoeven. Our councillor President Voorhal is in hospital, has been admitted, and now that he's struggling with his health.
Speaker, can I just say something else?
I'm waiting for your response on Councillor Voorhal. Thank you, Alderman.
Speaker Mandla from Naisna is also struggling to get in. I'm sending him the link again, so he'll log in soonest.
Thank you, Alderman. Do you know anything about your colleague, Councillor Klasie Windvogel?
I have not received anything, not at this stage, but obviously we know that he's not well at all.
Thank you, Alderman. Thank you, Municipal Manager. From your side, I know that.
Thank you, Speaker. Ms. Fix was in today. Personally,
Thank you, Emin. Let me just share with all the other councillors not in the chambers. When I look at my left-hand side, I don't see one woman. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, me included. If I look in front, I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 gentlemen, 1 elder lady councillor, and 2 committee services. 3, fortunately, 2 fortunately ladies, 1 good. So, Jets, next time, please bring along your lady folk councillors.
Speaker, Councillor N. Windvogel, I'm part of the meeting. I was just out for 2 seconds when you called me.
Hi, Speaker, Councillor Johnson. I'm also in the meeting now.
Thank you. I'm aware of the fact that ladies can do more than one thing at a time. So,
Speaker, Alberto, I'm also present.
Jennifer Hartwig is also present.
Okay. Oh, please stop.
councillors, the roll call will still be made. And
Okay.
whilst we're waiting for the roll call, Mr. Speaker, are you insinuating that you don't like your view?
No, thank you, Mr. Mayor. You lighten it up a bit. But yes, the fairer sex is always, it always makes us feel good. Not that I'm saying these gentlemen are not looking good. They greeted me this morning and one of the ladies said, "Ooh, hier kom ons mooi speaker." And all I said is that, you know, it's only pretty women that can recognize a pretty man. So, thank you, other lady.
Chair, just for interest's sake, I think we should realize that after behind every successful man, there is definitely a strong woman.
Well, I don't understand why men always let women then lead. You know, whenever you open a door, I'm always used to be at the back. But thank you, other lady. Thank you, Rihanna. Can you please proceed with the roll call? Thank you.
Councillor Sharon May.
Present.
Councillor Danny Simon.
Present, Rihanna, can you hear me?
Yes, we can, Councillor, thank you. Elder Lady Jennifer Hartley.
Present. Rihanna, thank you.
Councillor Albie Rousseau.
I'm present. Thank you.
Councillor Anne Windvogel.
Present, Rihanna.
Double 99.
Councillor Struble.
99.
I'm present. Thank you, Rihanna.
Councillor Justin Fry.
Good morning, Rihanna. I'm present.
Alderman Piet van der Hoeven.
Good morning, everybody.
Alderman Virgil Gericke.
Morning, present. Thank you.
Councillor Gerald Busa.
Good morning, everybody. I'm present.
Councillor Ivan Mangaliso.
Good morning, everybody. I'm present.
Councillor Jocelyn Johnson.
Good morning, everyone. I'm present.
Councillor Lezuko Tekolo.
Good morning, Rihanna and everyone. I am present.
Councillor Jolene Bomeran.
Goeiemôre almal, ek is teenwoordig.
Councillor Matiwane.
Good morning, everyone. I'm present, Speaker.
Councillor Meyer.
Good morning, everyone. I'm present.
Lady Reiter.
Good morning. I'm present.
Councillor Lambertine.
Good morning, everyone. I'm present. Thank you.
Speaker, those are the councillors present via Zoom. In the council chambers, Councillor Boyson.
Present, thank you.
Councillor Kritzinger.
Present.
Councillor Losey. Councillor Space. Councillor Harris. Councillor De Vries. And then yourself, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Rihanna.
Speaker, excuse me, Councillor Lambertine raised his hand.
Thank you, Councillor Lambertine. Please proceed.
Speaker, yes, good morning. Thank you. Speaker, I've also got with me in this conference hall Councillor Ben van Wyk and Councillor Wilskut, Raymond Wilskut. They are also present. We are on our tablets. Somebody is going to assist us now with putting us on the big screen. I thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Lambertine. I would love to see their faces and hear their voices as we go along, but thank you for that. Can we proceed, please? We move to item 4 of our agenda. Noting the provisions of Schedule 1, Code of Conduct for Councillors of the Local Government Municipal Systems Act 2000. And we note that. We note and we still undertake the oath that we undertook, that we will adhere to that code. We note it, but we reconfirm that we adhere to the code of conduct. The reason why it's on the agenda is to remind us of the code of conduct. And our master councillor, Alderman De Vries, will tell us, and the municipal manager, that legislation prescribes that this code of conduct must be in every meeting place of every council for every meeting. That's legislation. You'll find it here in the council chambers, and hopefully everybody has it with them wherever they are via the Zoom meeting. Thank you. Can we then move to item 5, disclosure of interest by councillors and officials? Any councillor or official that would like to declare the pecuniary interest in the consideration of any item on our agenda? I see the municipal manager. Nope. No official, any councillor? I don't see nothing. Let's move. Then I would first like to give our executive mayor the opportunity to give his communications to council. Thank you, Mr. Executive Mayor. Thank you, other members.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I agree with you. We can't wait for the time and conditions to change so that we can see each other once again face to face. But we're all aware, unfortunately, Mr. Speaker, that the pandemic figures are still not favoring those kind of conditions. And we as the Garden Road, we still in the high numbers in terms of court cases, and hopefully with all the efforts and with all the partnerships, we would then manage to get to the stage whereby we will look like the other areas in South Africa. The numbers are really, really down. Mr. Speaker, also earlier this week, and councillors earlier this week.
Speaker, the sound is not clear. Can you intervene so that we can hear properly, Speaker? Sorry for that. I should have kept quiet because now there's nothing. Sorry for that.
Okay. Am I audible now?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor.
All right, thank you. I think my finger is too small, too weak. My apologies for that, councillors, but I was saying that earlier this week, as the Garden Route District Municipality, we launched the District Safety Forum, Mr. Speaker, and that forum includes all the government clusters and the SOEs and all sectors that have to do with changing people's lives. That also, Mr. Speaker, was supported by all 7 of the local municipalities, and those municipalities have all signed the pledges that they support this initiative. And Mr. Speaker, this initiative is also funded by provincial government, the Department of Community Safety. So once again, it would be my plea to all the councillors who are representing the local municipalities on the district council to ensure that the local municipalities, they abide by the conditions which they need to comply by, so that they can also have access to the funding to be used for safety and everything that goes with safety. And Mr. Speaker, also to emphasize that it is not just about the physical safety of human beings, etc. This also has to do with wellness. And we know that wellness is a big part in changing communities' morale. Hence, we as a district, Mr. Speaker, we've started saying to the municipalities and to the people in the Garden Route that our intention is also to make sure that people are living in clean environments. And tomorrow we will be launching the cleanup project, 9 o'clock in Thembalethu. And again, Mr. Speaker, I want to emphasize that the intention is to have a full rollout in all 7 municipalities within the district. So it's a matter of municipalities being patient, that the district will have its footprint within their jurisdictions as well. And again, Mr. Speaker, the plea is for cooperation between the municipalities, that they need to partner with us because that is our intention. And again, it is not a powers and function issue where we come in and take over local municipalities' mandate. It is a matter of assisting because we are aware that all local municipalities are struggling with illegal dumping and are struggling in some parts with maintenance of their fleet and their plant. And this is one of the reasons why we embarked on this. Also, Mr. Speaker, it is also the first of its kind initiative which we are aware of, especially in the Western Cape and probably in South Africa as well. And the same applies to the establishment of this District Safety Forum. We're not aware that this exists in other municipalities. Safe to say that once again, Mossel Bay has gone a step further, so much so that they've actually even established a safety forum within their council that is represented by the relevant officials and councillors. And we would really love all municipalities to follow suit. And that would probably also assist, Mr. Speaker, in terms of assisting the municipalities to comply so that they can access these fundings. And once again, Mr. Speaker, the funding model is based on use it or lose it. So if municipalities will not not make use of these opportunities, those who will be first out of the blocks will definitely benefit from this. And Mr. Speaker, as I was saying, it includes all the clusters, and SAPS and correctional services is also a crucial part of this partnership. What is heartening, Mr. Speaker, is that when we were launching this forum, in terms of the stats which we've received, is that all of our prisons within the Garden Route, Mr. Speaker, are overcrowded. And that is a very sad tale of events. And there are also newborn babies in some of these prison facilities, Mr. Speaker. And the intention of this forum is that we need to get all role players to apply their minds in terms of how will we deal with this scourge as well, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, also lastly, we're also aware that that there are by-elections coming up. And once again, Mr. Speaker, it is our plea, and I can safely say it is different from what normally transpires out of by-elections in the Western or other parts of South Africa. I would like all municipalities and all political parties to continue with the spirit in which people are going about in terms of gearing up their voters. There's been no violence. We must keep it at that. And everything has been constructive thus far. And this is indeed the spirit in which we would like to see all events and all interactions and all activities to be conducted in the Garden Route. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Executive Mayor. I see a hand. More than one?
Excuse me, Speaker. I would just like to say, for the sake of the minutes, Councillor Chaba and Councillor Mapikiza joined via Zoom, and Councillor van der Woofen raised his hand.
Thank you so much. Welcome back, Councillor Chaba. I'm glad that you are virtually healthy enough.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you.
Good to hear your voice. Thank you, Alderman van der Woofen. Please proceed.
Speaker, my hand wasn't up first, but I will take the innings, the gap if it's given to me. First of all, Speaker, the safety forum. Can we be furnished as councillors with the conditions so that we can hold our local municipalities to ransom and make sure that that is implemented, because I think that is the right route that we are following. Then as far as the cleanup is concerned, I must say that for the next 2 weeks, you're going to see that for the first time in 5 years, you're going to see that in 4 wards in George, for the first time in 5 years, there will be cleanup because of the by-elections. So at least 4 wards will be clean, and then they will be left like that again for another 5 years. Or no, then there will be cleanup again just before the next elections, which is next year. So the cleanup problem, Speaker, surely the district as the strategic enabler must make sure that people, that municipalities deal with illegal dumping. But Speaker, as long as there are no consequences for illegal dumping, it will continue. So systems must be put in place, and the district must lead the way and guide the municipalities how to deal with illegal dumping. And obviously that is pollution. And for pollution, Speaker, there must be serious consequences. Yeah, I think I've said basically what I wanted to say about the by-elections. There's going to be service delivery in 4 wards in George for the next 2 weeks. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman van der Woofen. Thank you, Rihanna. Can you assist me, please? Who else would like to just quickly respond?
Councillor Gericke.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. Please proceed.
Speaker, there were other hands up before me. Can you first attend to them, please?
Say again, I couldn't hear exactly what you said before you.
I think there were other hands up before me.
Alderman, please proceed. You're an alderman. If I missed a lady, then I'll give the lady first. But please proceed. You're on the floor, as we say.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna be very short. It's just that on the issue of illegal dumping all over in our neighborhoods and areas, lots of dirt and rubbish, and we've been pleading for almost the entire term to all municipalities to clean up in our areas, particularly in George, and it has not been done. And in the wards where people have come out in their thousands to vote for the Democratic Alliance, particularly, those wards have been neglected. I am worried. I'm very worried that we are now suddenly coming up. Where is the district initiative coming up from now? That we are suddenly coming up now with the project on illegal dumping. And we suddenly in the almost in the fifth year, in the last year of our term, we are now understanding our mandate and we must now clean up and so on. Because this is a political platform, we must speak politics to one another, and we must say, don't gamble with the lives of people when it's time for voting. You've got to deliver services throughout the term and throughout the years that you govern as a government, and therefore we will hold you responsible. You have not delivered. You are coming now with some kind of makeup or gimmick, respectfully so, and try to tell people that you are government that care and they deliver. We take serious exception about this. Animals were lying around dead in the doors of our people, and nobody has done anything to that. People were calling in and nobody was doing anything about that. It is upsetting, to say the least. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Alderman. I think we as council, but can we ask for the next person, please? Mariana, can you please assist me?
I don't understand what you say, Mr. Speaker. What did you say now?
No, I say we are talking as a Garden Route municipality. Us.
I am serving in this municipality as an opposition councillor, Mr. Speaker. Let us understand this. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. Can I please, Rihanna, can you please assist me?
Councillor Spies and then Councillor Johnson, Speaker.
Councillor Spies and then Councillor Johnson.
I'm sure Councillor Chabo also raised the hand, and Councillor Maptisa.
Councillor Chaba, my apologies, Councillor Spies. Councillor Chaba, you also would like to speak?
Yes, Speaker.
Thank you. My apologies, Councillor Spies. Can we give our ladies first a short an opportunity like the others, please? Thank you. Please proceed, Councillor Chaba. Can I ask Councillor Spies to proceed until such time as Councillor Chaba can get connected? I know where we stay, sometimes the internet is quite unreliable at times. Please, Councillor Spies, proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, I just want to take the opportunity to thank and congratulate the Mayor, the MMNE administration, and the Council as a whole for the progressive actions that we've taken in some very difficult times, progressive and inclusive actions, projects that we've tackled in some challenging times. Thank you very much for keeping your finger on the button and for allowing us to move forward in this council and to deliver for citizens. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Spies. Councillor Chaba, can you hear me? Can I just request IT just to check if Councillor Chaba is still connected? It could be the internet on their side, on that side. If not, can we proceed? Who is the next person that would like to speak? Councillor Johnson.
Thank you, Speaker, for the opportunity. Speaker, I just want to, for clarity's sake, if my memory serves me correct, I think this item of the illegal dumping was part of the presentation that Mr. Gerrit Otto had a while ago also in the council meeting, stating the state of the illegal dumping and what the impact it had on the spread of the COVID pandemic. I think that's where the whole idea started for cleaning up the communities. And if I'm wrong, then you may say so. But if I'm correct, then I think we as a council made a decision a while back.
Thank you, Councillor Johnson. Councillor Chaba, can you hear me now?
Yes, Speaker, I can hear you now. Sure. Sorry, I am at the Mossel Bay office, so sometimes the thing it doesn't work so well. Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for the opportunity. All I wanted to say was that in terms of, we know that we are going now into a cycle of accountability as the institution. I would have thought that the mayor, the executive mayor, will give us a little bit more so that we are able to account for this year for what we have been doing as a council and also the transparency. So we are hoping that we're going to intensify in terms of our public participation and that we must try avenues so that those areas that have no, who cannot be access, that we need to have the accessibility. We are also concerned in terms of the numbers of violence against women and children. They are very alarming, and we're still pleading that should we have the stats, at least we will be able to make some plans and interventions to where that needs to be. Because this is a difficult time for our people, and it is also in terms of the jobs that have been lost, and therefore they need us to be as transparent and as closer to the people as possible. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Chaba. Councillor Harris, can you just your finger inhoud? Yes, please.
Thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, baie dankie ons het wat die burgemeester gesê het, net almal kan hoor. Ek dink meneer die speaker is dat die 7B munisipaliteite verantwoordelikheid moet aanvaar van wat binne hulle area of aksie gebeur ten opsigte van die onwettige vullistorting, illegal dumping. So ek weet nie wat die probleem is of het 'n finansiële probleem is of wat nie. Maar tog dink ek dat die wijkraadslede binne daai spesifieke munisipaliteite hulle oorsigrol moet vervul en dat hulle self die verantwoordelikheid moet aanvaar om die gemeenskap aan te spreek. Hoe onpopulair dit ook mag is. Dit hou 'n gesondheidsrisiko in vir die inwoners binne daardie spesifieke wijke of areas waar hulle woonagtig is. En ons moet maar net rugplaas en samenwerking gee waar nodig om toe te sien dat daar nou daadwerklik iets gedoen word binne hierdie munisipale areas om illegal dumping stop te sit. Ons het 'n gesondheidsverantwoordelikheid om toe te sien dat daar nie 'n gesondheidsgevare of kiem-uitbreek binne daardie spesifieke dorpe of wyke waar dit voorkom. En ek dink dit is ons verantwoordelikheid om te sien met gesondheidsoogpunt dat ons druk plaas op munisipaliteite. En aan die ander kant is dit ook 'n probleem dan dat die munisipaliteite self nie ernstig is op hulle eie bywette of bylaws om dit toe te pas nie. En baie het law enforcement amptenare wat waarlik hulle werk moet doen en uitgaan binne daardie areas en hulle rol vervul waarvoor hulle aangestel is. So dit is 'n ernstige probleem in die area waar ek ook bly, is daar ongeveer 10 onwettige vullisterreine wat geskep word en min word gedoen of veldtogte geloods om die gemeenskap bewus te maak. Maar baie dankie vir die inisiatief. Ons wil dit dophou met Arends oor en Magda net suksesvol vooruitspring. Dankie, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Harris. Colleagues? Okay, it's Friday today. Can I ask for a translation or can I try to do it quickly? Can I just please remind all colleague councillors, everybody participating in this meeting, that we are on YouTube. So we are live streaming as we speak. I'll just remind us all of that fact. Councillor Harris, I think in short what you really said is that there's a responsibility also on the garden route to put pressure on the B municipalities. One, to make sure that the law enforcement officers also look at the bylaws and that they see to it that the communities adhere to it. And secondly, that we also play our part in monitoring and perhaps assisting in cleaning specific environments. Health is really an issue in specific human settlements, and you also appreciate what the garden route, what we as a municipality are doing, and that you will keep a closer watch on further how we can assess all other areas that we illegal dumping also takes place. More or less, that's more or less the understanding that I got from what you said.
What is about the role and responsibility and the oversight that what council is to play to ensure that it doesn't happen.
Thank you very much for that.
So there's no absence hold by gekry, Councillor.
Thank you, Councillor Harris. Alderman Boyson, our Executive Mayor, would you like to respond, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it is a fact that we are not privy in terms of how the local municipalities are planning their schedules in terms of cleaning the areas. Our intention is just basically to extend their hand and to assist them where they can't get to some of these spots, because it is also true that as per Councillor Harris' question is that we are aware that some municipalities, they do have capacity, they've got capacity constraints, and others have got financial constraints. And it's also correct in terms of it is our mandate in terms of disaster management, which includes all the issues which we are dealing with. And to come to Councillor van der Woeven's concern, we will continue to play our part in terms of making sure that this is not going to be a once-off thing. Hence, I was saying that it's going to be on a rotational basis. And we would then assist the other local municipalities when it comes to assisting them in this regard. And Councillor Johnson is correct that this initiative was not born out of possible by-elections which are coming up. It was born out of the disaster management duties which we playing a crucial role in, and also as part of fighting the COVID-19 pandemic. And Councillor Lichaba is correct in the sense that Gender-based violence, in fact, it is a daily pandemic, and it is really something that we should not get tired in terms of dealing with it. And on the issues, there's another council meeting coming up, Mr. Speaker, before we finish this year. And in that meeting, I would then highlight in terms of what our achievements were for this financial year. So that will still happen. And the educational part is crucial, as Councillor Harris is alluding to, and it is also something which we need the private sector and we need the communities as well to play a crucial part in this. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you so much, Executive Mayor. From my side, also congratulations on the launch. There were some questions, not questions raised, but when some municipalities made their pledges and see the monies involved, they wanted the assurance that we spend the money towards safety. Now, my understanding, my little brain is that safety, and those that study law will also know, it's not a numerus clausus, which means it's not a restricted or limited interpretation. There could be more meaning to the word safety. And surely the safety of the environment, more specifically within human settlements, surely is also then a safety issue. But also, Mr. Mayor and Mr. MM, to you as well. Again, congratulations, and our program director also did his job very perfectly. Our Oscar winner sitting right in front of me, Mr. Mende. And what I heard is that General Reddy also made quite a good explanation, delivered a quite good explanation of what the district forum will entail and what our function will be. And sorry, I forgot Justin's surname from the Department of Community Safety, Lotring. He also indicated that there's a paper that they've devised or developed in 2016, if I remember correctly, 2018, which can also be shared by, with everyone, so that we can have a clear understanding what is a community safety forum and what is a community policing forum. CPFs are. There's a difference between them. But that's said. The good news is that we've got 2 Scorpions that will be celebrating their birthdays during November. The one first is our Deputy Executive Mayor, Elder Lady Rosina Reiters. If my memory serves me well, you will be celebrating your birthday on the 20th of November, the way I've got it. And then Councillor Mangaliso. Councillor Mangaliso, your birthday is on the 23rd of November. And I'm not going to mention the year. But the year you were born on the 23rd of November, I wrote my last paper in matric. That's why I'll remember it. I will remember it's 1973. But yes, congratulations. And we wish you well. Everything of the very best for your new year. And please enjoy your birthday. That is all from my side. Thank you. And then I would just like to say, while I'm on the floor, that Councillor Albie also requested that he be excused at 1 o'clock, 17 hours. Thank you. That's all from our side. Thank you, Municipal Manager. Tadimondi Strato. Looking forward to your communications. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning, councillors. I've got just a few things. Firstly, with the COVID-19 impact on the institution, we have 2 active cases. 1 employee from the Department of Planning and Economic Development and 1 from the Roads Department. That is the 2 confirmed cases that we have. It's been a few days since the cases were reported, and I suppose they are on their road to recover. Secondly, Speaker, this week we had our final stakeholders workshop on the growth and development strategy of the municipality. We are left with engaging the full council in terms of that strategy. The councillors were furnished with the document, various versions, and we request, Speaker, that the comments on the GDS from councillors have been very stingy, if I may say, from getting to us. We request that councillors do go through the growth and development strategy and make submissions so that when we finally adopt it, it is your document. It's a 20-year document which tries to envision the future of this region from an economic and growth perspective. This week, Speaker, on the very day we were launching the Community Safety Forum of the district, we finally concluded the discussions with Mossel Bay Municipality on the long properties matter that has taken many years. We are glad to report that that matter has now been finalized. The Garden Route and Mossel Bay are on the same page. We will be submitting the agreement to this council in the next council meeting for council to approve on how we're moving forward with the properties between Mossel Bay and the Garden Route. So that historical dispute that we all knew has been resolved. We're looking forward to doing the same with Knysna Municipality, which is starting its own dispute, which we still believe is unnecessary. Because from the experience we have had in Mossel Bay, it's very easy, but it takes time. But with the right mind and the right vision, it is doable. That it's not necessary to spend a lot of money on lawyers with opinions when we can sit in one room and discuss and agree. So we are very proud to have concluded that on Wednesday. Lastly, Speaker, from my side, I'm sure you'll be made aware, we would like to request, with your permission, the Human Settlement Development Agency has requested to engage council on a very exciting project. You will recall, councillors, since we applied for accreditation, which is at an advanced stage for human settlement, I did report that the Director General of Human Settlements arrived here shortly after that to give us the news that they were implementing the district development model for human settlements and that our region was one of the first that they were looking at. Subsequent to that, we were visited by the rapid response team of the Minister of Human Settlements, led by Mr. Ngedana. They came to report on the Southern Cape Human Settlements Corridor. And today, the provincial manager for the HDA, Mr. Pumlani Mbulawa, has requested that he's allowed a few moments to present to council the vision that they have with the Southern Cape corridor, so that as we move forward, councillors are aware that there is something that is happening regarding the human settlement. If you will allow, Speaker, he has connected and would like to make the presentation. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Municipal Manager. Alderman van der Hoeven, I've been made aware that you would like to say something. Your hand is up.
Yeah, Speaker, I just want to say that I don't think that has been addressed. I think it falls under the municipal manager, MM. The capacity on our tablets are very low. We must delete all our previous, what you call it, previous agendas in order to download new agendas. Is there something, can we get the SD card, or is there a way that we can deal with this? Because we use our previous agendas to do some research, to follow up, to make sure things are in place, that we fulfill our oversight role as opposition. But if you can't keep your agendas, it becomes impossible.
Speaker, with your permission, we will sort that out. I think it's the space issue. We'll have to find a way how to archive the other documents in the tablets to free up the space. The IT department will attend to that urgently. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, MM. I can see that Mr. Kwesiba, acting corporate services, he will create for each and every councillor very unique cloud where we can put our angels. Thank you for that, Thank you, Alderman Gericke, please proceed.
Yeah, thank you, Speaker. Let me just make use of this opportunity to congratulate the municipal manager on this initiative of progress made in terms of the human settlements accreditation, so much so that he is now inviting the DG of human settlements to come and speak to council. This is a progressive move, Mr. You have my full support personally, and we will do everything within our disposal to assist you in this initiative. This is the brainchild of your administration, and I think it's commendable, even that you were taking this initiative out of the box, even when you are in the environment of a district municipality. Even though it's not a key competency of a district municipality, you have still taken this initiative, and you have done us proud as a district municipality. So again, congratulations. We cannot wait till we see or engage with the DG of Human Settlements. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you so much, Alderman Gericke. Can we do the applause after we've listened to Mr. Phumlani Manjawa, if I remember correctly?
It's Mr. Phumlani
Mulawa. Yesterday, we had an item on our agenda of the Mossel Bay municipality, and we were also considering renaming certain extensions in Mossel Bay, as well as certain names. And there was one street named Mawawa in Mossel Bay, and I reminded my colleagues that they don't have to worry, because our policy determines you're not allowed to name people that are still living. And I just ensured them that our executive mayor in Garden Route is still alive and well. But thank you. Can we then have the presentation? Thank you so much, Tati. Please proceed. I remember from my previous life, HTA once visited Potchefstroom. They had those nice booklets that they issued all councillors and officials with, where you can make some nice notes. So when I see that picture of HTA, it reminds me of that. We're looking forward to that. Thank you.
Mr. Mbulawa, over to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Is someone going to assist me with flighting it from your side?
Yes, we are flighting the presentation as we speak. If you can see it, it's there. We'll control it from this side.
Oh, okay. I can't see it from my side, but I remember it. Don't worry about that. Good morning to the executive mayor, municipal managers, councillors, all protocol observed, my colleagues as well. My name is Phumlani Mbulawa, the acting regional manager for the New Capes, which is Eastern Cape, Northern Cape, and Western Cape. What I'll be taking the council through is the background to the Southern Cape Corridor development. This initiative started actually as the Knysna Northern Corridor, which was launched as one of the priority projects back in February 2016, which was a SANRAL site which measures roughly about 55.2 hectares, where a power of attorney was issued through a joint agreement with the then CEO of the HDA and CEO of SANRAL, and 29.6 hectares was, which belonged to SANRAL, was given to the Knysna municipality. We assisted the municipality in packaging this priority project. It could only yield 117 units at the time, and it required a capital cost for bulk of well over 174 million at the time. When this was presented back in November 2016 to the Steercom, it was then suggested that why don't we speak to both municipalities, which was Bitou and Knysna, and see whether we could basically catalyze those programs into a catalytic projects. And if you recall, the yields needed to be 10,000 units, looked at private sector investments, job creations that would be yielded from those developments. When we present,
my apologies for interjecting. Can you see your presentation as you speak?
I can see it now, Chair.
Thank you, Daddy. Please proceed. Thank you. My apologies.
No problem, Chair. Thank you. It was then on the 20th of April 2017 where the Steercom further recommended that these projects be unpacked. Those would have been the 17 projects in the Knysna municipality and the 12 within Bitou, to see whether private sector would then have the appetite to come in and bring in private sector development, split the social housing with BNG and so forth. Now, it was only Bitou that basically demonstrated a very high BNG component of well over 74%. And in Knysna, there was a larger social economic component. Now, because of the splits with regards to the sliding scale of funding contributions from government, from fully subsidized down to 3,501 up to 22,010 for social housing, you found that the appetite from private sector was not that big. We then were tasked to develop a special purpose vehicle using government. We spoke to GBSA, and it also came across that it was still too heavily reliant on government interventions. So if you move to the next slide, please. Okay, that's the third slide. But anyway, what you skipped was that the role of the HDA on the catalytic projects was a program manager. So that gave us a link directly to the provincial department and as well as national. And when we actually then conceptualized this business case for Minimac purposes, if you go to your next slide, the one you were on, the project moved from project inception to a technical analysis, a detailed feasibility study, which then was packaged into a comprehensive business plan, which had a funding model. The project came to well over 3.2 billion rand at the time. And as the closeout report was presented to the previous Steercom last month, the Steercom took several recommendations, which we'll go through 2 slides later. If you go to your next slide, it's a geographical representation of where those specific projects that were identified by the business plan by the 2 affected municipalities, which is Knysna and Bitou. It went as far as Setchfield and Karatra. I always pronounced it incorrectly, and up as well as Kirland towards PE in Bitou municipality. Thanks, Chair. Your next slide, please. The recommendation from Steercom on presentation of these document was that the programs seem to be too heavily reliant on the existing municipal project pipelines, and it was not catalyzing any of those programs. So the tech recommended to the Steercom that why don't we then look at focusing on the PHDA initiatives within those municipalities and catalyze those via the district model. Thank you. Next slide, please, sir. This opened up an opportunity for us because during the president's budget speech, the president identified a pattern of operating within silos. And then It basically said the lack of coherence in planning and implementation has made monitoring and oversight of government's programs very difficult. The president's view was of this non-optimal delivery of services and the diminished impact on the intended client base, primarily on the three areas of poverty, inequality, and employment. So the district model, which is Khawuleza, was then called into action with the aim to improve the coherence and the impact of government service delivery within 44 districts and 8 metros around the country. And one of those metros is the Garden route. In fact, you can skip then two slides and go directly within what the district model then is. There we go. So the district model works as a fundamental growth. What we basically said, the Southern Corridor gives us an opportunity through the district model to cover a much larger geographical area, and with the district actually playing a coordinative role and capacity augmentation within the smaller municipalities with which have those identified PHDAs, which would mean then the district would play that coordination role on a participatory process, which means then when we kick off the technical meeting or the steercom for this Southern Cape corridor, the district would then drive which other regions would play part of this model. And as we've said at the steercom, it would need then to be repackaged to maybe include much more than Bito and Knysna. Next slide, please. This approach would then basically mean that we are addressing the key message of having a more efficient government, because at the district and metro level, it basically means that there's a greater intergovernmental planning coordination platform that would have been created. And this brings local and provincial government who will work from a single district plan. Next slide, please. The bigger advantage of Khawuleza is that the district model would basically be adequately resourced to speed up service delivery, with PHDAs actually getting funding directly from national. Your next slide, please. So the main focus of the plans would basically be to manage urbanization and growth and support local economic drivers while accelerating land release and land development, as stated in Section 23 of the Housing Development Act. This is one of the specialities where the Housing Development Agency then comes in through the rapid release of land and acquisition of private and publicly owned land to help foster sustained or sustainable human settlements. And also investing in infrastructure of integrated human settlements, economic activities, and the provision of basic services, while addressing service delivery challenges within the municipalities that are falling within this district plan. Your next slide, please. While this singular plan will not only help link private and public sector, it will be a model which helps prioritize social partnerships and collaborations within sectors of societies and communities, while addressing the unblocking of bottlenecks within developments. Because one of the things that we've seen within our catalytic projects, we've had this massive public sector investment, and we have struggled to create these sustainable investments where you find that socio-economic infrastructure is lagging behind. So this is one of the issues that this would basically then help address. Your next slide, please. Building a capable state. This is basically to realizing Vision 2030, where we require collaboration between all sectors and societies with the strong leadership, hence the implementation through the district. Basically also creating a more focused plan in terms of addressing those delivery models. Your next one, please. Basically, we are moving away from a focus of project focus onto a program based implementation strategy, which basically means that the district would act as an enabling environment for economic development and providing a regulatory feedback back to basic services. This would provide policy and regulatory certainty for municipalities to build both public and business confidence within those municipalities as a place to live, work, play, and invest. Your next slide, please. The provincial government's budgets and programs will be spatially referenced to districts and metros. Hence, as I outlined later, that the plan that's created by the district is what's going to be funded, and the municipalities would then benefit from those focus development matrix. Next slide, please. This is basically a definition of what Khawuleza then means, basically hurrying up and speeding up the impact on the three focus areas that have been identified by the president's speech, which is inequality, poverty, and unemployment. With the launch of the district model, as the earlier speaker has outloaded, that the district integrated coordination model is going to be piloted within the Garden Route as one of the first within the country. You can skip to several slides. I think it's slide 20, where it's outlining the role of the Housing Development Agency. What role would the Housing Development Agency play within this particular space? Under Section 23 of the Act, there's 12 functions. I've just summarized the most relevant to this particular initiative. The long and the short of it is that we would be the secretariat to the district at the steercom level, where we'd assist with basically developing the strategic plans with regards to identification and acquisition of state, privately owned land, providing program management and monitoring of the development as it unfolds, and ensuring that there's collaboration and intergovernmental and integrated alignment of housing development services, and basically acquiring and the releasing of the state-owned land parcels, as we know that there are some state land parcels that are owned by public works of a strategic nature, and through a power of attorney and the conclusion of the compensation framework, this allows the department to release those land parcels to the HDA, and we can start developing immediately through powers of attorney while the planning processes are underway. The next slide, please. The next slide is dealing with the PHDAs. Why has the Steercom then recommended that we focus on the priority housing areas? This is on a larger scale through the Housing Act, through SPLUMA and the Infrastructure Development Act, is redressing all the pre-94 spatial planning issues, pretty much an upgraded version of the 2001 Urban Renewal Program, where we're basically ensuring that all socioeconomic activities, schools, health facilities, job creations, where you could live, work, and play, is leveraged within those specific geographical areas. The next three slides are basically outlining the relevant wards for the district, for Bito, and Knysna municipalities, and I'm sure that the principals know much better than me where those specific wards will be, but we then focus on them as the tech then kicks off. So what we are basically wanting to do with this district model is to get the council's buy-in in principle to kick off with this platform. And I think I heard earlier on, and I'm thinking it's the municipal manager that was speaking, saying that we already have their in principle blessing with this initiative, getting the district to drive this human settlements focused development within the entire district. The other models later on are just dealing with the operational cycle of this plan. So at this strategic platform, I'm not going to bore the platform. I would then be open to take any questions or points of clarity, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Phumlani Rawa. I will now allow for questions. I'm looking forward to one of the questions that will also ask what will happen south of Knysna. Will that also be a priority housing development area that will also be identified and gazetted? But thanks for questions. Municipal Manager.
Speaker, thank you.
Executive Mayor.
It's not a question. Just to emphasize the point that councillors will recall, since council resolved on the accreditation process, we've already revised the organogram of the municipality in anticipation of this function, wherein we have created the necessary capacity. We are finalizing now a curriculum, if you like, for training for staff, which we would like to extend to councillors, because many of the staff and councillors have not been in the human settlement space. So it's a few of us who've been in the game, because a number of departments will be involved now working with the HTA and the other sectors. So we are putting together a training module, which we'll present very soon. And I think I'll be speaking and representing the council properly when I say the decision to get involved has already been taken. So HTA is most welcome to pilot the project in the garden route. And for me, this is a game changer. And I think the vision of the district is being realized step by step, and that this is an opportunity for us to show that the district model, we've been already planning for it. We've been practicalizing it with specific functions that we've been taking. So that's in conclusion, Chair, from my side. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Emin. I would just like, before I give the executive mayor and then Alderman van der Werven, Emin, I would just like to know that training, will mediation also form part of the training with the housing section? Mediation, because I think even settlements also got its own challenges.
Yes, we are aware, Speaker. That's why mediation will not only come from the side of this function. If you look at the rollout of our community safety plan, we already taking practical steps to even train the communities on mediation strategy, so that all these service delivery protests that are destructive are avoided. So we'll be training communities on mediation principles. Thank you.
Please include councillors. I would love to attend it as well as ward councillors. Thank you, Emin. Alderman Boyden, Executive Mayor, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Councillor Alderman Gericke have already saying the praises with MM's communications in terms of our readiness. And then he reminded me of Councillor van der Werven. Every time when the word enabling or enabler comes up, I know that it is actually the word he emphasized when we were dealing and discussing the vision of this municipality.
Speaker, we can't hear.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now, Alderman?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Thank you, Alderman. Alderman, I was just saying in my last sentence that every time when we deal with the definition enabling or us being an enabler, it reminds me of you, because you really emphasized on that term when we were discussing the vision. And that in itself, the comments by Alderman Gericke and your comments, it's an indication to Mr. Phumlani that indeed is now more than a principal's decision. We are supporting this, and we are ready to provide the experience of living, working, and playing in the garden route through all the structures and our capacities, and all the working together from all the council members within the garden route. So rest assured that we do want this to happen, and we will go out full blast for this to happen. But lastly, Mr. Speaker, it comes up very often that there are a lot of initiatives where the Garden Route District Municipality is always the first, if not in the province, it is in the country. But I would like to emphasize that we are determined to make it more than us being the first in some of these things. But we also want the garden routers to actually experience all these changes and all these plans which we are having in the pipeline. And we're very excited, and we will definitely continue to punch above our weight. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alderman Boysen. Our executive mayor first is Alderman van der Hoeven, then is Alderman De Vries, and then our councillor Harris, and Alderman Gericke before Councillor Harris. Thank you. In that order. Thank you, Alderman van der Hoeven.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, talk shops brings us nowhere. Now, I'm not saying this is a talk shop, but there's no item in front of us. So pity there isn't the item so that we can give our consent and that we outline a process. My suggestion is, Speaker, this is massive. And surely I think we went over this very quickly, and there's a lot of that we need to take in. My suggestion is, Speaker, that we take it to a workshop and that we bring an item to council so that we can resolve on issues, because I think there are many.
Thank you, Alderman van der Hoeven. Alderman De Vries.
There's something wrong with my ear, Speaker, because I cannot hear a word. So let me quickly go and see a doctor.
Can you?
We don't want you to hear.
You can move the mic closer. It doesn't belong to any political party. You're welcome to do that.
No, thank you, Speaker. Can you hear me now? Okay. No, I was saying it's hard to see that the DA municipality
Speaker, we can't hear a word.
I think you must test your ears.
I'm holding my. Sorry, it seems there's someone.
Speaker, we are unable to hear anything.
Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now? Can you hear me now?
Can you hear me?
A teeny weeny little bit better, but not really.
Councillor Chifu, can you hear me now? Chifu, can you hear me?
Sorry.
A bit better, but I must stretch my ears.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, just do this.
Go for it.
Almost kiss it.
Councillors, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Much better.
Thank you, my chief from that side. No, I was just saying that it's heartening to see the DA embracing the district development model. If we recall, there was quite some negative media from them, seeing the district model as a coup of governance in the Western Cape. But I know that this administration were always very progressive and embracing programs that would benefit the people of the district. So I think that we must, for that, congratulate the executive mayor and the MN and the DA, I think, caucus as a whole, to seeing the benefits of an ANC government program. So, Speaker, I have a question basically on the issue of Knysna. Now, the Minister of Housing was about 3-4 years ago in Knysna when this idea was discussed. Now, on the screen currently stated that Knysna was gazetted
on the 15th of May 2020. But in one of the previous slides, it was stated that National Council didn't approve or support some sort of resolution. So I would like to know in terms of what was it that National Council was not approving, and why won't they want to support a program that actually can expedite the delivery of housing in the national municipality? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Alderman. De Vries, Alderman Gericke.
Speaker, thank you. I'm going to support Alderman van der Woofen in asking that we, I don't know if you can call it a workshop, but rather an item, most probably to council, to map out the way forward, and so that we make a concrete of law and in terms of the proposal in front of us. That is of critical importance. And then secondly, I'm going to ask that we, while they did the presentation and most probably his personnel also on air, it is of critical importance to understand that there's a massive need for human settlement in this area. And it's actually a critical need at the moment before it explodes. And thereby asking that we expedite this process, Mr. Municipal Manager, through the Speaker, remove all red tape and all hurdles and hiccups, and let us work together to make this a reality for the people on the ground, for the people that do not have homes, houses, human settlement at the moment. There's a gap market that I am pretty much worried about. The people earn too much for the banks and too little to too much to qualify, and too little from the banks to qualify also for a decent loan. And let us also just investigate what type of market we want to establish. Most probably you know already, and this is why I'm asking for an item also, so that we understand. But our full support, our blessing again, and let us expedite Mr. MM so that we, assist people on the ground. Then lastly, I just want to, on a lighter note, inform Councillor De Vries. Most probably it's not, it doesn't have to do with the DA, Councillor De Vries. Most probably it's got to do with our open-minded, progressive administration, and maybe here and there politicians that understand the vision of national government, cherish these guys while they are, work good with them and do whatever they ask of us. Just on a lighter note, Councillor Peter Alderman van der Woofen. And if I am not wrong, I think I've seen the mayor somehow or the other, sometime or the other with a red beret. Maybe he was just socializing, but I've seen him with a red beret sometimes. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Alderman Gericke. I don't know if it was his wife's Sunday one that he was wearing, but now it's Councillor, please. Thank you, Councillor Harris. And then
no, Speaker, sorry, I'm trying to say this is how progressive the man is. Almost, equal to Malema.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. Please proceed, Councillor Harris. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I think this is a very important project for the region, and we will support it. However, we have some questions, and that's why I support the idea that we have a full item or some way of a workshop so that we can go through this, because just to have a slideshow will not help us and inform us the way forward, because some of the questions I have in mind is because there's financial implications, and for the other two municipalities that will be involved, I don't know what will the financial implications be for them, and will they have the capacity in terms of bulk services for this project, and will national and provincial government assist these municipalities. One, just for an example, in Georgia, there's a project that is going on. It's about 2,000 houses. They start building houses. After all, they find out that they don't have the capacity in terms of water supply, electricity, and the sewage system. The networks are not in full capacity to supply the services to those houses. So there will be a lot, and even the process plan of this project. So there will be a lot of questions that we need to ask and have clarity on it. It's not in a situation where we don't support this project, but we need, because there will other partners be involved, even state parastatals, because some of the land might be belongs to them, and we need clarity on it. But we will also need to take the financial situation of these into account. But it is all mere for the economic spin-off within the region, and how we will support small and medium businesses when they get involved. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Councillor Harris. I would just like to say to Ndati Mpumlani Mulawa, this is not a portfolio committee, this is a Garden District municipality. So I hope you've got a good scribe that all the questions that were raised thus far, some of them comments. I request my good colleagues, please let's try to restrict us. I don't want to restrict the discussion, but surely there will be a time when we properly engage in the report. And then I see you would like to speak. Councillor Spies had his hand up. The Executive Mayor, may I ask that you can perhaps close, or would you like to come in now?
Speaker, just to clarify that Council has already resolved on the issue of human settlements. So there is no need for a new resolution. What we can do is that, if you recall, councillors, after I met with the DG of Human Settlements, I came back and reported about this process, and that there will be a presentation which is happening today. What the HDA wanted to know is the in-principle decision that was taken, and we said council has already resolved on the issue of human settlement. What then can happen is to then, as we move forward with implementation, probably arrange a workshop to unpack the project further for better understanding or detailed understanding by councillors. I think it will be an ongoing exercise, because we must come back from time to time to explain the detail up to when there is actual handover and delivery of the units to their beneficiaries. So what HDA was looking for has already been dispensed with, in the sense that this council has resolved on the human settlement. This is but one of the projects in the program that will be delivered from the human settlements perspective. I wanted just to clarify that. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Municipal Manager. Councillor Spies or Mr. Meyer?
Thank you, Speaker. I'm not going to get into the nitty-gritty of this item. I'm a bit of a romantic, and so I want to take you back that since this is a catalytic project and should be transformative, I would like to urge us to start thinking in a different way. You know, my family and my neighbors were removed from the beautiful Samola and Eastford to Oplas, what they call Heidevallei today. And where they were moved to is just blocks of bricks. I want to suggest to you that it is actually possible that we can transform our neighborhoods to leafy suburbs, and that we don't just build concrete developments, and that we create space for our people to, so that they have space in their minds to develop. Please, when you consider the plans and the costs and everything that goes with it, that the price of the space to dream is priceless. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Councillor Spies. I can only, with passion agree with you, because we cannot proceed to look like pre or post 48 until 94. We cannot allow that to happen. Thank you, Executive Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just to add on to what the MMF said, I agree with the MM. Safe to say, Mr. Speaker, that we will continue to update and bring this in terms of how it develops to the Section 79 committees as well. But what I do want to hammer on, Mr. Speaker, and I want to say this slowly, and it is based on the questions raised by Councillor Harris. This is why the local municipalities must support us unconditionally for us to become a water services authority, because we do want to pick up on these challenges of infrastructural challenges, whether it's sewer, whether it's water, anything that's got to do with bulk services. If we had that accreditation, we would pick up these kind of developments, and we would ensure that the local municipalities are ready. So when projects are registered, we also look at project readiness, and we do what we're supposed to do, which would be bulk services. So again, this is an indication that we now really, really need to not even smell the coffee, but to drink the coffee, so that we can deal with these challenges going forward. And also on the financial model raised again by Councillor Harris, I am aware that the Provincial Department of Human Settlements are negotiating with banks, and I'm sure as soon as that has been concluded, that would be communicated to us now that we're part of these kind of developments. And I'm also convinced it's happening at the national level as well, where the government are engaging the financial institutions. But it is correct that we need to help wherever we can. And all of the new and the latest developments regarding the target market and regarding financial models, we will communicate that information as we're getting it. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Executive Mayor. Councillor Johnson. Amen. Thank you, Councillor Johnson. May I please, Councillor Johnson, before you respond, before you come in, may I please ask that Mr. Mulawa respond to Alderman de Vries's question about Knysna.
Thank you, Chair. I think the MM hit the nail on the head with the first question raised. There is an existing steercom chaired by the DG. That was communicated that we have the blessing of council. It will start with a workshop for the technocrats, and then we'll present back to a platform where the councils will be sitting, where everything would be unpacked for a more detailed sense of understanding. The steercom sits every 2 months. The next one is on the 8th of December. Based on the council's resolution, the mayor and the municipal manager, or delegated authority by the municipal manager, will form part of the steercom moving forward. 2, the question raised on Knysna municipality. Now, since I've started at the HDA, the Knysna municipality has changed over 6 times the municipal manager, acting and non-acting. This has led to a position where we have not been able to obtain a council resolution on the Southern Cape Corridor project. This basically then translates into that because the catalytic project needs 2 institutional documentation, an implementation protocol and an MOA. MOA would be signed by the mayor, the IP would be signed by the municipal manager. This then means that the municipality does not support that Southern Cape Corridor development in the absence of a council resolution. We have been there to present. There seems to be appetite. The councils are very happy with it, but there is no council resolution coming out of the municipality. Hence, it has delayed the project by almost over 2 years now. The issue of gap housing, We do sit with Brian from the provincial department under Pila Maisiela. We have spoken to FNB and Capitec Bank, who have expressed interest to basically or appetite to be the banks of choice when it comes to the gap housing market. We have a company that we've commissioned called Demicon that have done a market survey and understanding of the housing markets within the districts all the way back to Knysna. We will share that at the first platform. I think those are the three. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Are you covered, Alderman de Vries? Thank you. Councillor Johnson? There's a suggestion from the floor, but can I ask Councillor Johnson, please, to come in? Can we proceed? Thank you. Alderman Boyson, would you like to put the seal on it? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Councillor Harris have just indicated that they and we all support the initiative and the project and the resolutions. Thank you.
Can we give our presenter a hat?
So, thank you, Chair.
That's
thank you,
Councillor Gericke now.
Through Speaker, thank you, Mr. Mbulawa, for the presentation. We will then engage moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, councillors. Can I just ask for 2 minutes to just stand up? Tell your brain that your blood is still everywhere.
Speaker.
I'm listening.
Just on the logistical, I find that I'm here at Mossel Bay Center, and they're saying that they are closing at 1:30, and I will be alone here. So at 1:30, then I am forced to also abandon the meeting, unfortunately.
Thank you, Councillor Chaba. I don't know your smartphone, perhaps, as an alternative, but I'll try my level best that we can. If you want an item to be moved forward on the agenda, let's do it. If you would like to participate in an item specifically, time, I can move the item forward.
Yes, okay, thank you.
We will, I get a confirmation, Councillor Chaba, that it will be resolved. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Can we then proceed? We didn't adjourn, we just stood up. The next item on our agenda. Please, councillors, we didn't adjourn. I just asked you to stand up for a couple of minutes. Can we then move to the approval of the minutes, item 9 on our agenda, please? Consideration of the minutes of the council meeting that was held on the 30th of September 2020. From my side, I would just like to say that just a correction on the inauguration of Councillor Matawani. We cannot, the minutes cannot reflect that he requested to take the oath, but that he took the oath of office. There's that correction. And then Councillor Simon also applied for leave of absence for that meeting. Can we just note that he applied for leave of absence for the meeting of the 30th of September and that he was not absent without leave? Any further corrections to the minutes? Alderman de Vries.
Thank you, Speaker. The first one is on page 13. The two spelling ones is 1 and 13. There's 2 A's in was. Then on page 13, there's 2 F's in off. So listen to those 2 corrections. Then
Speaker, it's a correction.
Speaker, I've got bad ears, but I didn't know they are so bad.
Councillor van der Hoofden, the first correction is on page 13. There's two A's in was and there's two F's in off. So those are the first two that I'm just proposing for correction. Then on page 28, Speaker, H2, the resolution there says that the council grants the MN permission to defend the interests of the Garden Route municipality. Now that's correct, but didn't we add, and I stand to be corrected, that we will also proceed with further, we will further engage, or was that the only thing that we resolved? Because my the reflection was that yes, we said defend if there's any litigation or dispute, but also that we should continue engaging with the municipality.
Thank you. I think it was the intention of our resolution. It was, yes.
Thank you.
I think Mapetiza made a certain comment of a scholar or teacher. I mustn't treat him like a teacher. And he was as a scholar, if I remember correctly, on that one. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. And then on page 29 and 30 on H3, I think that 5.11 and 5.15 is the same. The first one.
With those corrections to the minutes, can I get, if there are any corrections, technical corrections on the minutes? If not, can I then get a proposal and a seconder so that we can adopt it?
Speaker, I will propose.
Is that Councillor Jocelyn?
That's correct, Speaker.
Thank you. Seconder, I see Councillor Lose and Alderman de Vries. Yep. Councillor Lose, thank you very much. Also Councillor de Vries. The next item, May. Councillor May, please come in.
Dankie Speaker. Nee, ek wou net sekondeer op die voorstel wat gemaak was.
Dankie. Ons sit eers die derde sekondant. Sal dit so notuleer. Thank you. Can we move to the next item on the agenda? The minutes of the mayoral committee meeting and section 79 committee. Can we take note of it? It's noted.
Noted. Noted.
Thank you, Councillor Jocelyn. 11 minutes of the section 79 committee meetings, also for notification.
Noted, Mr. Speaker.
Noted.
Thank you. We noted also, I think with thanks and appreciation from my side, from the Speaker's office, I would just like to convey my appreciation for all those committees. I really see that you are productive and that you are doing good work. Thank you for that. Can we then move to the next item? That's 12.1, appointment, service exits and labor relations information for September 2020. Any discussion on this item? Elder Lady Kitzinger, anything from your side before we consider these items properly? I see that Alderman de Vries, you've got your hand up.
No, Chair, nothing from my side. Standing item as per Council's request, and the it's self-explanatory, and the report speaks for itself.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kitzinger. Alderman de Vries.
Thank you, Speaker. First, I want to thank the department administration for adding the issue that I raised last time about disability. And there is a draft on page 50 or 84, actually, that actually indicate the overall percentage of disability within the municipality. But Speaker, if we can add that again when we announce new appointments, as we have done on page 84, that we do include a column, or we just say that there was no person of disability being appointed. And then Speaker, oh no, that's another question. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman de Vries.
We got a proposal from our lady Katsina. Seconder.
I second, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Stubel. I also really appreciate the pies. I love a pie, but they're really delicious. And if you come to Kleinbrak River, try Uitzig Pick and Pay. There's a lady. It's not a brand name. It's her own homemade pies that she makes. Beautiful pies. And they also sell Coke with the pie. Thank you. Can we then move to Section A? There's nothing from my side. Section B, reports from the Executive Mayor. First of all, it's B1. It's a report, a Section 52 report on the responsibilities of the Executive Mayor. I always say there's a huge difference between a mayor and an executive mayor. So that is a Section 52 report, responsibilities of our Executive Mayor, pages 92 to 139. Alderman Boyson, our Executive Mayor, would you like to present your report to us? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in terms of the NFMA 56 of 2003, I hereby table this report for noting. And every time I do this, Mr. Speaker, something goes through my mind, and it is something that maybe one day I will engage Treasury regarding these 52 and 71 and 72 reports in terms of what happens to these reports after we've submitted it. Because I've yet to be engaged or get feedback from Treasury on these reports. But because it's a compliance matter, I hereby table it for noting in council. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Executive Mayor. That was B1 or is B1. Any further input on this report?
Maybe Councillor De Vries must have a look into this as your spare time with all these things you're embarking on. Thank you.
What I can say from the Office of the Speaker side is that we really appreciate those reports. It also gives us insight to the Office of the Speaker on the finer things that happens, due to the fact that the Office of the Speaker do not attend portfolio and other committee meetings. Alderman De Vries, I see that you, the old days, you said that you brand om te praat. Please proceed.
Yes, Speaker. I would like to find the extra time that the Executive Mayor referred to, because I can really utilize that. Speaker, on the first comment that the Mayor made, I think that he's correct. At times we would like to have feedback. But the reason for the report is for us as council to engage, and for our finance committee to scrutinize this report, so that we don't, at the end of the financial year, ask why did things go wrong. Because if we only ask those questions then when the annual report is produced, it means we haven't then played our oversight role as a council. So it's important that our committee, and yes, Mayor, you submitted here for notification. I'm sometimes normally like the word rather using consideration, and council can still note it. Because there's also this thing sometimes in your mind that no, you just note it. And we know what happened when your recommendation reads from your side for council to note. More than, well, let me not put a percentage, but let me just say that a lot of people then don't read it because it's not important. Thank you.
Thank you. I really enjoyed the training that we also attended on Monday. It was very fruitful. And I really also would like to thank, sorry, but not on the agenda, but on training. I really enjoyed the training that was given on Monday. And that was one of the things that was also mentioned on our accountability. There's a municipal manager that has received a sentence, 2 years. I'm not going to name and shame, but it's public knowledge. And where are the councillors that were part of those meetings? The municipal manager's got 2 years to serve, and the councillors are, they're not gone, they're still around, but they're not reading orange. But yes, so we must read And let me share this with you. I don't know if it's only me that experiences this. You know, with this speed reading and WhatsApps, people love pictures, but give them something to read. They just don't understand that. Just give them a smiley or a handjies wat klap of ons bid saam. So we really should never stop reading. You cannot see these figures in pictures. You must read them. But thank you very much, Alderman Executive Meyer, Alderman Boyson. Thank you, Alderman De Vries, seconder. Thank you, Alder Lady.
I will second.
Thank you.
Yeah, Speaker, my hand is up for quite some time.
Thank you, Alderman.
Mine also, Speaker.
Thank you. My apologies. I was made aware of that. Just thank you. My apologies for that. It's first Alderman Gericke and then Alderman van der Hoeven.
Yeah, Speaker, let me just quickly say, before I get to the point, I'm actually one of those individuals, you know, when I get many WhatsApp messages and with pictures and stuff, I don't even read those pictures. It bores me. I hate it because it doesn't make sense in many ways. Let me just ask on page 108, Mr. Meyer. Please assist me. Maybe I'm just a little lost here today. The last paragraph, agency services. The municipality performs an agency function on behalf of the Department of Transport and then the Roads Department. And then the 12% commission there, 3.865 million rand and so on. Is this monies that we receive as the municipality from the Roads Department to perform certain functions? I just want to understand that before I post another question, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. Can we get a response to that before we move on?
The answer is, Mr. Speaker, but the CFO can put more meat to the bone.
Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Yes, the alderman is correct. That 12% admin fee is a percentage of the total allocation that is gazetted to the district municipality. So if for this function we receive every year we sign a SLA, and the amount that we will get is stipulated in that SLA. So if that says we get 100 rand in total, then 12% of that will not be spent on materials and things for the roads function. It's an admin fee payable to Garden District Municipality because of all the functions that we have for being able to apply the roads function, etc.
Okay.
For example, the HR function and the finance function. So it's almost like contributing to the back office costs of being able to host this function.
Okay, Speaker. Speaker.
Please proceed. Thank you, Alderman Gericke.
And then maybe all our fights over the years are then futile fights or unnecessary fights. Let me just then ask to understand. Do I understand by this, Mr. CFO then, or Mr. Municipal Manager, that roads, in contrary of what we understand of core functions, do we understand that roads are not a core function of the municipality? It's just, we just perform an agency duty. Is this what we say?
Thank you, Alderman Executive Meyer. Alderman Boyson.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Alderman Gericke reminds me of a debate and an engagement that has been going on for years now. And I want to say to Alderman Gericke that our fight is not in vain, and we still need to fight. The crux of the matter with roads is that we do not decide which roads must be prioritized within the financial year. And that is what we want to change, because sometimes the roads which are prioritized by province are not necessarily your your live stream roads for these farmers, and where the roads are very crucial, those roads might not even be in the pipeline, and this is the crux of the pipe.
Okay, Mr. Speaker, I'm getting to a point here. The point that I'm trying to get at, Mr. Mayor, I'm not in disagreement with you. I'm exactly getting to that point. Because if we are agency function and we have a roads department and we can only perform the functions of an agency and not the core function of roads, then it actually then means, in terms of my knowledge and understanding, that this department is then an unfunded mandate within this municipality. So if this is an unfunded mandate, why then do we have a roads department in this municipality? Why don't we just simply allow the province to run its own roads department? Because we are fighting for this now for many years, and only now we understand that we actually don't have authority in their department, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. Can we, just from my side, if you look at page 167 of our annual report that will be tabled in the next item, page 167, and the other is page 50, that also is on the road, just to name but 2 pages within our agenda. That Alderman Gericke, thank you. Alderman Boysen, would you like to respond now, or can I first give Alderman van der Hoeven an opportunity before our MM responds?
Mr. Speaker, I would like the MM to respond on the funding question raised by Alderman Gericke, because there is a gray area in terms of the understanding.
Thank you, Municipal Manager.
Thank you, Speaker. The roads function is nicely funded, Speaker. We just mentioned the administrative costs. You will recall that we've been even talking about the post-retirement benefits of those people. They will fund the 60 million contingency liability. So it is funded. The real issue is what the executive mayor was saying in terms of decision making, from which road, for what purpose, and to what extent, the allocation or the use of the actual budget that is there, because that budget is fully funded by the province for us to use. The money is transferred to us in millions to implement in the department, and also the use and control it that we are already managing anyway. So those are the issues in the agency agreement, or some of the issues in the agency agreement that are being discussed back and forth. Otherwise, it's not an unfunded mandate. It's a very nicely funded mandate, although it can be funded better, as all other things can be funded better. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman. Would you like to make a follow-up?
Let me just conclude on this. Mr. Municipal Manager, I do understand. I am in my second term, with all due respect, and I do understand when there's disputes around apartments, and I do understand, the implications for senior managers, and I do understand the bonuses, and I do understand all those type of things. I want us to talk about the real service delivery issues. And most probably you cannot talk about it now. I'm not talking about unfunded mandate in the literal sense of the word, because you cannot measure the expenses of personnel versus the real infrastructure development. It doesn't speak, it doesn't make sense. The mayor has said a sensible thing. The mayor has said that yes, although we get some funds, this is, I am articulating his words now. Although we get some funds, we don't have a say over some of the roads. This is what the mayor said, and he's frank and he's upfront about this, and I appreciate it, Mr. Mayor. And that's the point. The point is, how come is this governed from the provincial level while we say it's a core function of the district municipality? We've got to get this right. If we don't get it right, that economy remains where it is at the moment, in the hands of a bag full of selected few, and we actually don't have a say. But in order to arrive there, Mr. Mayor, we again support you to say, let us find a solution in terms of the way forward, in terms of this issue which we are grappling with for many months now. We don't need We don't need to beat about the bush about this. We need to get to the crux of the matter and understand what we are doing, because you must understand that the district municipality is also contributing towards the pension fund of some of these workers. The district municipality is also laying out some resources and monies in terms of the sustenance of the department. And if we don't get it right, if we don't have the full detail, then we are, I won't say lying, but most probably just deceiving one another here in terms of the function and the core mandate. But I will leave it there again for the millionth time. I will leave it there again without any answers. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you, Alderman Boyson. And then I would like to give Alderman van der Wulfen an opportunity. And can we please then, on this matter, can we try to reach consensus that we are still busy with the Section 52 report? Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, thank you. And Mr. Speaker, the Minister of Public Works and Transport, Minister Madikizela, did indicate that he is coming to the Garden Route to engage us on these matters and to engage the shareholders, which are mostly the rural farmers and the rural people, etc. So that will be communicated as soon as he confirms. Thank you.
Thank you, Executive Mayor. Alderman van der Wulfen, are you still there?
Yes, Speaker, I'm still here. Sure. It's a long wait. I lost my whatever. Let me start at the end. I want to tell Councillor Gericke what the crux of the matter is. The crux of the matter, Councillor Gericke, is that there is a limit on what province or any other government institution may spend on salaries. So it's outsourced their projects so that another authority pay the salaries. So they look good. That's the reason. And that's why us also outsource some of our projects so that we don't spend more than 30% on our salaries or 35% or what the limit is. So that's basically why. So we are all misused in order to paint a good picture. Because the moment you go over a certain limit, there's a big problem. My concern is on page 107, and I'm an opposition member, and there's and I look at the variances, and on that page, there's a variance of more than 1,000%. And I think we've got the answer. We know what the answer is going to be. We were told that that's going to be rectified as an opposition and as a councillor that need to play an oversight role. We need to check these things. So there are huge variances at places, and it stays a concern. And then perhaps just lastly, if we give the roads agency back to the province, we are no longer a grade 5 municipality. So it benefits us also.
Thank you. Can we have the last part? Alderman de Vries.
Speaker, this is just a comment on something that I said before. Look at the KP, the part of the report that talks about performance management. On page 150 and then go to 151. You find that there's certain departments whereby all the deliveries is happening, or the KPIs, in the fourth quarter. And I normally say that that is for compliance sake or to ensure that you don't have some negative reports. Now, if you look at the KPIs not yet applicable, in the roads department, 100% is not yet in the first quarter applicable. Now, if we go further down the report, it says that that KPI is only measured by the end of the year, that they must complete 95% of budget or something to complete. Now, the problem with that is that during the year, you can't measure in terms of what is happening within that department based on this report. I normally say that even you will find that a simple thing that the person knows is going to happen in the first quarter or the second one, but to be safe is being put in the last quarter. I'm just concerned that you have two departments where there's basically saying that there's nothing for us to deliver. Now with the planning, perhaps because some of this is about the report, not the report, the strategy, that would take longer, normally 9 months, so that would be in the last quarter. But a department like roads, I find it difficult to understand that we actually say that in the first quarter, there's no deliverable for them as a department. Because then even some of the other departments will find that the majority of them is saying that, look, we didn't have anything, except with about 2 or 3 departments, and understandable, some of them couldn't visit because of the lockdown in some of the, like finance, we know that certain deadlines was moved to the further by Treasury. So that those ones we understand, but I'm just concerned that we still read something like that there's nothing for the first quarter to do. Thank you.
Thank you, Alderman. Can we get final responses on the Section 52 report? I don't know if supply chain management is always a problem for the first quarter later expenditure, but I'm not a CFO. Any responses, or can we please move on this report? There was a comment being made, and we appreciate that. Thank you, Alderman de Vries. Seconder for the report. We've got a proposal from the Executive Mayor. Seconder.
I will second the Mayor's report.
Thank you.
Speaker.
Alderman, yes, I'm listening.
I understand that you work in terms of the process, but can I ask you, please, that you note our concerns and our questions within the next agenda, please, that it be included, please.
May I ask from my colleagues, please, if you would like your concern, your not dissenting vote necessarily, or abstention, but if there's a specific that you would like to get noted, to be minuted, please ask you to do that. It's extremely difficult from the administration side, to take which comment being made by which councillor.
Okay, Speaker, can I then ask? Yes.
I request that our colleagues specifically ask that be noted under your name or under a councillor's name. I'll give you a chance. I will give you a chance just now, Alderman Kiereka.
Speaker, I was going to note 2 things on that. One is the resolution, the roads engagement. There is an indication that the minister will be coming to the district to address some of these issues that were raised even today. The second one is on the PMS regarding the timelines for reporting that it's been a discussion for some time. There was a workshop that was organized. There were road shows that were done. We'll look at that again. Thirdly is the issue of variances, which Councillor van der Hoeven raised. I thought that the Speaker, the CFO, could answer that now, because it does not need to wait for the next council meeting. But the 2 things that we've noted, we'll address them as we move forward.
Alderman Kiereka, are you covered with that input?
Yeah, you must. I raised the point, Mr. Speaker, and I'm actually expecting you to give me the preference to speak on that point with due respect to the municipal manager. We understand that the minister is coming, or the MEC is coming. The MEC is coming now for almost 4 years, and the MEC has never come here before. Let us make a definite note about this. Let us understand the core function of the roads, how it works. This is my concern. I've raised it in this meeting and previous meetings as well, and I will raise it again. And can we then ask, and without applying pressure on you, Mr. Mayor, can we then ask, what is the time frame? Will the MEC come to this area next year or still in this year? Or when will he come here? Let us attach a time frame to that, please. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, with all due respect, we can't dictate the MEC's diary, but he initially indicated now in November. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, colleagues. CFO, would you like to quickly respond to the variances now? Are you prepared to respond to it now? I would like to close because you still got a long agenda to go. Lunch is ready. So I don't know if you would like to have your lunch at 4 or 5 this afternoon, or can we proceed? CFO, would you like to?
Yeah, maybe just to say that I've noted the councillor's comment and we will address it appropriately.
Thank you so much, CFO. Thank you, Executive Mayor.
Mr. Speaker, because of us being so very lenient and nice, we actually eat up all our own time when it comes to inputs from myself and the MM. So I would suggest that we push as far as we can before we even take lunch, because we will make other people despondent.
Thank you so much. Today's diary, if you read at the bottom, you will never find time for anything. If you want time, you must make it. That was Charles Buxton. Read your diary today. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. That's very true. The next item, B2, is the unaudited annual report for 2019-2020 financial year. Correction, we need one thing to do only today, and that is to take note of the tabling of this annual report, period. It will now go the public participation process. If there are any corrections that you would like to make, any further input, consult the municipal manager, but we table it today. We cannot discuss it. I don't want us to discuss it today. We only note the tabling of it today. Thank you, MM.
Thank you, Speaker. Just on the recommendations, 5.1.2 is removed and the rest are the same. There is no need to re-resolve on a resolution that was already taken.
Thank you so much. That is with those corrections, can I get a proposal in a second? I see Councillor Spies.
Before I do that, Speaker, I'd just like to congratulate and thank the NN for putting the roads department on the front page of the annual report.
Yeah, I even saw my little face in the left-hand corner as well.
Alderman Gericke didn't hear that, Councillor Spies.
No, thank you very much. What I really would like to say, in Executive Mayor, we really appreciate. I know how much hours, how much sweat and tears and corrections and send it back, put that in, delete that, change that, do this. It is not an easy thing. It's a thesis. That is a thesis for your doctorate, which you've read there. It's really something special. It's something this district municipality must be extremely proud of, to have such a document at their disposal. I use it, I abuse it wherever I go, I brag, I protect. When I read this and I present what's given here, I then fire my bodyguard. I don't have to, untie my dogs, because of all the information in here is really very, very useful to a councillor and a ward councillor whose ward is almost 1,200 square kilometers with about 3,000 kilometers of gravel roads and lots of farmers staying in Ward 7, Mossel Bay. So I would just like to, that's why I could quote the pages of the roads section within this report. But
Mr. Speaker.
MM and everybody that really worked hard on this document, your whole team as well. Alderman De Vries, thank you.
Speaker, I can't yet join you in terms of congratulations in terms of the content. I'm ready. Because our task is to see whether the content is correct. That's why we're in the report. But what I want to congratulate the administration is that we are doing this in time. A lot of municipalities are still struggling to have it done before the 30th of October. I think we have overcome our differences about process also that we had in the beginning about 2-3 years ago. So, but also, Speaker, at the beginning, in fact, as we go through all the reports now, I would like to thank the improvement of your documentation in terms of the executive summaries of all the reports. It's actually made it very easy. You know what the administration wants, or the executive mayor wants in terms of what we must prove. So that's a very good improvement, and I think that we have to acknowledge that. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think I also read point 5.2.1, if my memory serves me correct. Those executive summaries, I even compared them to the others. I fully agree with it. It's just a lot. When you got information overload sitting in more than one council, it's just a lot. For a better understanding. Executive Mayor, thank you.
Alderman De Vries forgot to say that we've learned from that bonus issue which he raised last year.
That's it. Yeah, and we never get too old to learn. Thank you so much. We've got a proposal.
Mr. Speaker.
Alderman Gericke, please proceed.
You have a tendency to mislook or miss my hand.
Alderman
Never mind.
I wish
That means-
Alderman Gericke, I will invite you at the next council meeting to have your meeting in the chambers so that you can see what I see in front of me.
Mr. Speaker.
Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, let me also from our side note this report. It's important to put this on record. I note that when we are asking questions and so on, you always try to hurry or rush the meeting, but it's our role, it's our responsibility to ask questions, to scrutinize and peruse, and thereby saying, we are all aware. I, for one, I am aware that we have highly professional, highly qualified officials and with high regard and respect towards our municipal manager and all his officials. We have high regard for you, Mr. MM. Don't think when we ask questions, we try to catch you out or criticize you. We are here, we perform our oversight role, and we do our duty on behalf of the electorate. Thank you, Mr. MM. I think the mayor understands this. He's a politician, and he's a seasoned politician also. Speaker, you must relax when you sit in the chair, please. And since it's almost weekend, thank you very much indeed.
Wishing you the same, Alderman Gericke. You can relax as well. I'm sure that your home is safe. We are quite relaxed here. We proceed with our meeting. Thank you. Can we move to the next item? That is section D. No, my paper is. Perhaps I should follow. Yep. No, it's not it's section D, the items from the Financial Services Department. D1 is a report on the annual financial statement for the year ending 30 June 2020, pages 467 to 562. D1. Any input, comment?
Speaker.
At Werestem, I'm hearing a voice.
Speaker.
Who are you?
Councillor Lichaba.
Councillor Lichaba, thank you. Thank you, ma'am. Please proceed, Councillor Lichaba.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, we're coming at a time that, as we have said, this is an audited annual report, and therefore it means we are coming to a cycle where we need to account on all the activities that we've done under the review of this financial year. And therefore, as for us, as a committee of MPAC, we have the responsibility over this report. And as it is said there, in the recommendations, is that we vet and we verify the directives on the service delivery versus on the actual as per the STP and the IDP. The only concern that it's there is that after this report, Council has adopted or noted or adopted, it has to go through a process of public participation. Now, here we are sitting with a space where the interactions, there should not be social distance and so forth. But most importantly is that I am truly concerned with the other years that we do not get, there are areas we only concentrate on public participation in terms of the social media, being in the council website and so forth, or being in the libraries. But there are areas that that are untapped, areas that they do not get for us to account in terms of the informal settlement, in areas where it's remote, in the farms.
Councillor Chaba?
Chair.
Councillor Chaba, just a second, please. I would like to give Elder Lady Kutzing an opportunity. I know that I've been very lenient. We've concluded the previous item, but can I, on a point of, I've received a point of order, Elder Lady Kutzing.
I just want to make sure if my colleague is on the same item as we're busy with it, the annual report D1 at the moment, which is on page 467 to 562. Is she on
Financial statements, not the annual report. We've concluded the annual report.
So the financial statements, yes.
Yeah.
Is she on the same?
Chair, did we conclude the final?
Yes,
Yes, we have.
Yes, we did.
Oh no, then I didn't have then a reception this side.
No problem. I allowed you to do that, ma'am, because I know that you also wanted to touch upon the public participation process, and that we tabled it. We know tabling of the annual report. We're not discussing in detail the content thereof, as we know, but I'm sure that we can again also add your suggestions regards public participation more specifically with regards to our informal and other settlements and other areas we do not have all of those people staying there accessibility to social media and other means. Thank you. Can we move? We are now still on report.
Speaker.
30 June 2020.
Speaker.
Listening, Councillor Chaba.
I'm sorry, but this was not of my own doing that I missed that. It's unfortunately the internet, because I was there, and only when I came to the meeting, then the meeting was forward, because there was something I needed to put in the annual report. There was a recommendation that I wanted to put in.
Executive Mayor.
Can I be allowed?
Mr. Speaker, I understand Councillor Lichaba's dilemma, but Councillor Lichaba, based on your position as a chair lady of MPEC, you will definitely get another bite at this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor Chaba. If there's a specific...
Yes, there was a specific, I do hear the Honorable Mayor, but it was a specific space so that we are within the ombuds of the legislation. That's why I wanted to alert us there. So,
thank you.
Because in that we are saying that the annual report must be vetted by MPEC, but at the same time, we are not also putting that in the same space. An audited annual report also needs to have the performance management committee to evaluate senior managers and performance against agreement entered into. It is not stating in that recommendation.
Thank you.
That's what I wanted to highlight.
Thank you, Councillor Chaba. I take it that all processes regards to compliance and wherever this report must land for consideration and inputs to be made, our would like to come in. Anything in addition, you don't, my view is, my personal view is, you don't need the council listening for everything. You follow the route that the law prescribes as well. We can reconfirm it here, but would you like to come in?
Speaker, I just want to bring to your attention procedural issues.
Yes.
The matter has been dispensed with by council. That's the problem.
Thank you. Thank you. Can we move to D2 then? Report D1. We've got a proposal and a seconder.
Speaker, Councillor Lamborghini, can I propose? Speaker, that we accept this report as council. Thank you.
Sorry, I can.
Speaker, I will second the proposal.
Thank you. That's proposed, Councillor Lamborghini, seconded by Councillor Johnson. Can we move to D2, deviation report?
Speaker.
Is that Councillor Albi?
Speaker, I stayed on another half hour, but is it possible to be excused now?
Yes, please. You may do that. You've arranged.
Thank you very much. Take care, all of you. Bye.
Thank you. Thank you, Councillor Albi. Thank you. We are now on D2, deviation report, implementation of the supply chain management policy for the period 1st of September 2020 to 30th September, page 563 to 567. D2, any comment, input? None from the chambers. Can we get a proposal or seconder? If there's no input, no comment, MM?
There is, Speaker, I had requested that a correction be made on the report. If you read in the financial implications, it says 3,680, but in the columns, it's still not reflected there. That was corrected in the NACO and was included, and that's the recommendation from the NACO with that included. Thank you.
Thank you. With the inclusion of the omission. Thank you. Can we move? We've got a proposal of second at D2. With a further input?
Yes, Speaker, with all the inputs, and I would recommend or propose that we accept this report as well. Thank you very much for that.
Seconder.
I second, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Struble. Can we then take off the report itself? Thank you. I would like to see the faces when they speak to me. I see the report. No. Let's keep it that way. Thank you. I really would like to thank the Secretariat here on my right-hand side. They must every time come walk to me to say, this one and this one and this one. This councillor would like to speak. I think they're having their physical training today. Enough of that. Thank you for your indulgence. Thank you. Can we move then to the report to council on the records management policy, pages 568 to 610? Elder Lady Kritzinger, anything more that you would like to say?
Yes, Chair, thank you very much. I would just like to say that the recommendation is on page 568 that council approves the policy. It's also the success of the system and the policy depends on the users, and an appeal is made to the staff members for their positive support and compliance. So I propose that we accept this.
Thank you so much, Elder Lady Kritzinger. Seconder. Thank you, Councillor Spies. Alderman De Vries.
Speaker, after the time that comment, I think this in future, now given in this workshop, at times when we develop policies, we must look at terms of sometimes we are putting what's supposed to be in call this SOP. And it's easier because normally that's an administrative function that the municipal manager can change. But at times we try to put everything within a policy, and it makes it difficult then when we have to review. Because the difference between policy matters and what is standard operating procedure. Thank you, but I can't say something or check against the policy.
Thank you so much, Alderman De Vries. I can just say, Elder Lady Kritzinger and to Mr. Quislinger today as well. Dis altyd die weeskind, die records afdeling. It's always, wat noem jy weeskind nou weer in Engels? I know it's Friday. It's also always the orphan. They work extremely hard. If you take them away, ja, dan is die ruggraat weg van die lyf wat vasgehou word. So our sincerest thanks. And we've got a central archiving system, Elder Lady.
Yes, we have.
Yeah, and because some people have got a tendency to keep those documentation on their computers or to file them somewhere, and it doesn't reach the records or archive section. I know the municipal manager and and our good advocate here next to me will make sure that everybody participates in the cooperation. Thank you, Alderlady Kirsinger. The next one, E2 report on the telephone policy.
Yes, Chair, this policy was also workshopped on the 16th of September, and it also provides for a set of standards to be complied with as far as the users of our telephone systems are concerned, and applies equally to internal and external calls. And I so propose the proposal is on page 611 that we approve this policy. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Alderlady Kirsinger. Seconder. Councillor
I will
Spies.
second.
Okay. Thank you. It's recorded. So, third one, E3, report on the attendance of council. First of all, thank you for this report. Please take note that the speaker has requested that this report must be submitted or should be submitted quarterly. I again would like to make that request that this report be submitted quarterly. My sincerest thanks for the compilation of this report. It's not an easy task. I'm not going to allow any discussion on this report. What I would like to do is to request every councillor or any councillor that would like to correct what is contained within this report to formally, by means of an email, don't send a WhatsApp or a picture of a page written in your diary. Send us an email, refer us to the corrections that you would like to make, regards to attendance. If you submitted your application for leave of absence, send us proof thereof so that we can correct our records. I've also requested that this issue of attendance be dealt with at our next governance meeting, and so that we can henceforth, those councillors who do not attend meetings and without leave will definitely make a contribution to whatever fund this council deem fit. And my personal proposal is that any remedial fines that will be issued for non-attendance without apology, so that we can invest in the education of our people. But it's not for discussion. Let's take note of this report with my comment, please. If that can be noted, I'll appreciate it. Can we just note it and can we move on? That's E3. Proposal, Alderlady Kirsinger.
Thank you, Chair. The proposals on page 628, I also want to add to the proposal what you have suggested, and I want to ask the councillors to please also keep in mind the code of conduct for councillors, item 3. Maybe they should have a review of that as far as our obligations are concerned. So I want to propose that we accept this. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Alderlady Kirsinger. Seconder. Councillor Lose. Thank you. Can we move to the next item? It's item E4, report on the council resolution register for the period July till September. This is also the fruits of one of the strategic sessions, so that we have a follow-up. We make resolutions in council. We do not know what happens to it always. Some things are not visible. Thank you, Alderman De Vries.
Speaker, the only comment I have is that I'm trying to understand the difference between resolve and complete. I thought that it was supposed to mean the same thing, unless there's another meaning going on. And if not, then the proposal will be let's use one. If it says complete, it means it's finished. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you. We've noted that. I also wanted to say something, but I will refrain from that. Is to have, I had this, it's not a problem, I had the same challenge to say that I would like to know, I don't want to know everything. I want to know as finalization on the execution being met. How you phrase it, that I leave to the learned administration, but that is, thank you. It's noted. Thank you. Can we note with thanks, this report, and let's give the executive hand and the municipal manager and his staff for the execution of our resolutions and report back to us, doing our oversight role of what is happening. Thank you so much for that. More as ons doen, dan kan ons nie dankie sê. So we do it today. Thank you. Can we move to the next item? It's report on the gender mainstreaming checklist and minutes of the task team committee meetings. I think councillors have read this, E5. I don't want to steal anybody's fire. There you've got it. I've got lots of to say, but I'm not going to. I'm going to allow us at Elder Lady Kritzinger. Thank you.
Yes, Chair, thank you very much. The recommendation on page 677. I just want to say that Gordon Route District Municipality was selected as the preferred municipality to pilot this project to assist in the institutionalization of the gender mainstreaming into the into the Gordon Route District Municipality. The project will be rolled out over a year, or if needed, over a period of longer than a year. And as a starter, a checklist was designed and circulated to populate the information that can be seen on page 675 and onwards. And the checklist also indicates our progress made in the Gordon Route District Municipality, which is actually, if we look at it, it's not bad at all. We've got a few sections that we really need to sort of comply with, but as far as that's concerned, I think we have got a lot to be proud of. So I want to propose that we accept the recommendation as on page 677. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you so much, Elder Lady Kritzinger. With congratulations to, I can't say to ourselves, to you, to us, and to you all. Thank you so much. We've got a proposal, seconder.
Chair, Speaker.
Yes, I'm listening.
Councillor Lichaba.
Thank you, Councillor Chaba.
Thank you. Before you get a seconder and a mover, the seconder, I just wanted to say this is such a great progress. I think we are, it's in fact, the Garden Route, I think we are one in South Africa that has been moving so fast in terms of gender mainstreaming in municipalities. But however, I still think that at some point, council, we were given an approval to formulate a woman caucus for councillors, and it was approved by council, but there was nothing that was done to really formulate that body, because as we say, we must lead from the front. So part of that was to assist in terms of us to discuss matters, to monitor, and to so forth. Because as much as at the moment it's lying within the corporate services, but at the same time, you needed a body that is able to fully grasp and discuss these matters as they come. So I plead to council that because that decision was made by us, it's time that we really need to implement so that the women councillors, we can start to do our work and to be progressive in it. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Chaba. Alderman De Vries.
Speaker, I would like to add recommendation 5.1.2. The mission of the person that Councillor Kritzinger have made, what already have recommended. I would like us to receive a report. There's a lot of actions and still actions that must be taken. So that council receive quarterly reports on the progress on the actions. Thank you.
Thanks a lot. Can we agree, Elder Lady Kritzinger?
Yes, so that's also part of the plan on a regular basis. Once the team has, the task team has had their meetings to report back to council.
Thank you so much. That's it. We've got a second. I also thought, we're leading, but the tracks that we leave behind of what we've done. Marcel Bay always says to be the best in the country, be number one. But I'll remind them that the district municipality is first in many things. So where's number one and number first? But yeah, hope you're not getting thirsty, but we are first in many things, although not the number one, because we're not a B. Thank you. Can we move? Thank you, Elder Lady Kritzinger. Can we move to the next one, E6? Is that recruitment and selection policy? Alderman De Vries, I've noted you. Anybody else? Alderman De Vries.
Thank you, Speaker. Before this recommendation in a second. Speaker, I would like us to, again, my apologies, I did not in the workshop, but I think it's important to get clarity. On page 717, section 7.7. The E targets will not be applicable to the internal staff who apply for positions between T3 and T12. Subject that they are in compliance with the minimum requirements of that particular post and that they are from the designated groups. I don't understand that, Speaker. I will have to support that in good conscience and we need to understand what that means.
I see, is that Councillor Desha? Is that Councillor Desha?
Please, I would like Chair to give the NM opportunity to answer on this, please.
Thank you, Dati Mondestrato.
Thank you, Speaker. It's, I think Councillor Spies is right. Maybe Bonsile should respond. I think, Speaker, what they are requesting is that in terms of the process of recruitment, if a particular person from the designated group, they have already been overrepresented in a particular post, those persons are already automatically not shortlisted. Now they're saying internally in the staff, you will find people that maybe acted in the position and acquitted themselves very well. But now when it's time to do the shortlisting, the EE kicks them out. So they're asking that in the category or the band of those positions, even if a person is coming from a group that is overrepresented in that particular space, if it's an internal candidate, that they should be shortlisted, but still they must be either African, colored, or Indian, which means they must be still coming from the designated groups. It then also means that those persons are not necessarily given the post, but they are allowed to go through the process. That is the understanding we got from the unions. They were saying it's creating a situation where people are refusing to even act in positions when they are internal staff because they know if there's an opening, there's no chance for progressing because they are automatically not shortlisted because their EE targets have already been met in a particular post. So for instance, if there's a post at finance that a certain person must act, they will act for a certain period of time, acquit themselves very well, but then when we advertise the post, they are already not shortlisted. And then they say we're good to act, but we're not good to actually be considered for the post. That was a discussion that is coming for years now. Since 2017, at least for me, I became aware because I was a part of it. But we also felt that having looked at the progress that has been made in addressing the employment equity challenges of the district, maybe it's time that we relaxed that component. And at the LLF, it was agreed that let's bring it to council for approval. That's my understanding, Speaker.
Thank you so much. That is Strato. Alderman De Vries.
Thank you, Speaker. I understand.
I'd like the Speaker to note that this is an ANC council.
Speaker, we shouldn't be threatened by that. You see, we must be consistent with our constitution and labor legislation and regulation. Because the same councillors is going to question when the Department of Labor is going to fine us in terms of that we don't comply with our own employment equity plan. And we're going to be in trouble. We are also the ones that must ensure that we meet those requirements. Now, hence I'm saying because the problem is that this thing allows it open for interpretation. So when do we do it and when not? Now, any person, if I was a staff member on a higher level, I would complain that you as a district now as an employer are discriminating against me because your rules are inconsistent within the same organization. So while I'm very sympathetic to what we have been said, I think that it's important that it have to be explained more and perhaps more engagement so that we are covered as an employer. So I'm just worried that as it stands there, it's open for interpretation because when is management going to apply or not? And then the same council will come back and blame management for the way in which they are complying this. And it's going to be inconsistent. And I guarantee any other staff member at a higher level can take this municipality to court and they will be successful. And then we can't blame the MM. And actually the court must then ask us as council to pay back if we lose those cases. So, because I'm saying that perhaps if we can get more advice, maybe the MM and legal department, so that we can be comfortable with what we are doing in terms of this. I know that I had to fight right at the beginning or disagreements when the issue was that, for instance, that let's first advertise internal and then external. It was a process for us during those days, the early days, that we had constant engagement with the trade unions, and at the end that we made an agreement. So I'm just worried, but let me then go to my second point. And that's on page 713. If there's no suitable candidate meeting the employment of the target in the first round, then the panel will revert back to the long list and consider suitable qualified candidates in terms of EP. In instances where after the first round of interview and practical test, the candidate will pass the practical interview, then go back to the long list. Now, read that with 5.13. Vacant posts should only be advertised twice, where such posts cannot be filled after the second advertisement. The filling of such posts may be referred to the MM for permission for headhunting. Now, if I'm the HR manager, how am I going to apply 7.13? What is the first round? If I can just get it. Because we're saying there must be advertisement. And why would I go back to a long list if I believe that people was not suitable for the post at the beginning? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Alderman Wilson. Our Executive Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, just to add to Alderman De Vries's question, and I'm not going to be specific, but it is something that came to my attention, Mr. Speaker, and maybe when we respond, we can allude to this. Why would one have to set up a test for a tea lady or a spanner boy at roads department, levels where we know that anybody from the street can do it? And you'll find that with a test, somebody still fails that. How does a tea lady, or why must the requirement be so high that a tea lady must write a test, or a spanner boy at the roads department must write a test? Because to me, it's the qualified guy say to this guy, can you give me a size 14? Can you give me a this? But you take that guy for a driving test and he fails the test, but he's got a license. It doesn't make sense. Something is wrong with how we interview people and how we might keep out some of our own internal people, because our requirements are of such a standard. Just as an example, we know that there are requirements for grade 12, post-matric qualifications. It says there you need to have a grade 8, but the test is equal to post-retirement. Doesn't make sense to me, Mr. Speaker. So we might actually keep out our own internal people because our requirements are so high.
Thank you. Thank you, Alderman. Councillor De Vries. Councillor Spies. I had my apple because my sugar is getting low, and I missed my lunch. But yes, I'm trying. Sorry, Councillor De Vries, please. And Alderman Gericke. After is Councillor De Vries, Councillor Spies, and then Alderman Gericke. Thank you, Councillor Spies.
I just want to make clear that Councillor De Vries has never been called Spies. It's always me being called De Vries.
No. I'm sorry, Alderman.
No, Speaker, it's not just you, it's the whole council. We must take a resolution on that.
Alderman Spies, I'll give you a chance just now. You might proceed, Alderman De Vries. Councillor Spies, no, I'm just joking. Please proceed, Councillor Spies.
Yes, Speaker. Sorry. Speaker, the conversation, I just want to assure Councillor De Vries that the conversation was long. It's not just this, and we understand the legal implications, maybe not fully, but that our EE targets are continuously monitored. Our what comes out of this will be continuously monitored, and it is with a view to our vision and our mission in the municipality to motivate staff internally to develop and to continue to develop, to be motivated to develop. Otherwise, we sit with a situation where, I don't want to name names, where people when vacancies come up, they don't apply, and then tomorrow you see them in Knysna as a director. You don't know why we couldn't help them in Garden Route, or you and the band is specifically because that band is so that is the band that we employ the most people, where there is the most leeway for percentages going awry in the targets. And if and when these things happen, then there's a buffer for correction. It was not done. At least the employment part, the employer part of the LLF was not trying to put the council in unnecessary danger or risk. We understand. We understood it as it is proposed here. And a further point is that when these things go, we review our policies very regularly as well, and so there is enough space for correction when it doesn't go well. But I believe that we have to give this policy a go. I don't know about your second point. I don't understand that either. But on your first point, that we give this policy a go as it's written there. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Councillor Spies. I see.
And sorry for calling you an ANC councillor.
Very proud of being an ANC councillor.
I'm very proud of being a councillor of Garden Route. Hello, Lady Kratzinger. Gericke, sorry, Alderman Gericke. I almost said Alderman Kratzinger.
Yeah, no, Speaker, I am well aware of some psychological tactics to frustrate certain people, but I'm used to that. Let me just latch on to what the mayor said in his last submission about the qualifications and the tests and so on. That's something to look into very seriously, to subject people to certain tests. Whilst those tests are not necessary, it might be construed, or it may be construed as a barrier to keep certain people out. It's a serious plea to have to relook those issues. Mr. Speaker, I have on page 722 and on page 724, on the just 11.3 on the furniture removal expenses, I see no amount there, and I would like to know what informs that. that clause, because if somebody travels from Sedgefield to George, it might be lesser of an expense than somebody that travels from Mpumalanga to George.
Alderman Gericke, my sincerest apologies. We've got a couple of hands here in the chambers. Can I just, I don't know if it's a point of order that you would like to raise?
Fine.
We're busy with the item regarding the changes or the approval of the recruitment and selection policy.
We're still on it, Chair.
Yes. Thank you. Alderman Gericke, you refer to page 724. If my memory serves me correct, is one of the pages that you refer to. Am I correct?
722 and 724.
That is what I remembered. 722 and 724 is the updated proposal to the recruitment and selection policy E6. Please proceed, Alderman Gericke.
Okay. All right. We must read our items. We must read our documents before we interject. Speaker, on 11.3.1, let me just understand what informs that clause. How do we measure in terms of expenses when people move from one point to another point? And, you know, as I said, from Sedgefield to George will most probably lesser than from Mpumalanga to George. That's the first question. I know in the other policy we had an amount attached to that. Then on page 15, the reappointment of employees. If you take 15.1, 15.2, and 15.3 as opposed to 15.5, let us just deal with 15.1, 15.2, and 15.3. It would appear, and somebody must correct me, please, it would appear that we are keeping the door open here, constantly open for some people to come in or to sneak in again under the pretense that they have expert knowledge in a specialized field, 15.1, and then a former employee who opted for early retirement, maybe reappointment, 15.2, and then 15.3, a former employee who left the service due to ill health may now be reappointed. Yes, you can most probably understand that, but if that person recovers, but with regard to expert knowledge, should we not rather look at the transfer of skill and transfer of knowledge in order to avoid recalling officials over and over when we need them? You cannot keep that door open-endedly so as to call people back all the time. Now 15.5, here you deal with an employee that's services were terminated as a result of misconduct. How long do you keep that guy outside? Can you keep him outside forever? May he apply after 5 years or 2 years? Maybe he's rehabilitated or so. But as it stands here, these people are being kept out forever. And we must now consider whether it's fair and just for people that most probably have a scarce skill also. He wants to come back. Can I just get some answers on that, please?
Thank you. I see Alderman de Vries would like to come in. I don't know, as the head of the administration, our municipal manager would like to respond to the comments being made by Alderman Gericke.
Thank you, Speaker. Firstly, to respond on the first one, we are actually looking at the whole testing and writing of tests and exercises for people that are being recruited. We have in the past intervened and changed some of the things that were done. For instance, people were expected to pick up a bag of cement as part of their testing, and we stopped that already. So we are constantly reviewing the testing regimes that were put there. I think on the other matters that are being raised today, They are not part of the amendments that we brought to this meeting. They've been in the policy for a long time. What I can suggest, Speaker, is that Council deals with the two amendments that we proposed, and then the policy then goes back, as is normal, to a workshop for thorough discussion, and then we can then deal with all the issues that are being raised that were not highlighted in red. Because if we're going to continue this way, there's a lot that can be debated on the policy, because some of the things that are in the policy currently, we were not necessarily in agreement, but we said because we are working together, let's put them on the policy, so they are there already. So this is not this is a living document. So we'll revisit it as in other policies. We'll take note specifically of the things that are raised today. And when we schedule our workshops, we'll discuss them again. But what we're requesting is for Council to consider the two amendments that we're putting, especially because the second one is quite urgent in terms of our human settlement accreditation process. The provincial government has officials that must come and join the garden route. But now we cannot place them in terms of our placement policy because it doesn't allow. So we have put in those proposals there in red to allow for a process to get them in. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. We've got thank you with that explanation, Alderman de Vries.
Speaker, the second one in 14.8 that the MM first makes sense. In terms of that, I'm still not convinced that I mean, not sure about colleagues, but that I can vote for amendment, the first one, that can, in the end, cost this council. And I've supported such a policy.
I would like to suggest something even before you started speaking on that issue, Elder Lady Kurtzinger, as well. I'm not saying it will be bulletproof. Can we write on this policy and in this council resolution, version 1 adopted today? When you do that, you clearly indicate that it's version 1. You clearly indicate when you minute it as such that it is a version 1, which means there could be more, which means it's a document that's alive and that it can still be concluded.
Speaker.
Alderman Gericke.
Can I just, I'm going to ask your indulgence here. I'm at a different location. My phone is on 14%. It's going to go down and off now. If you will excuse me for the remainder of this meeting, because if my phone goes out, I must charge it for an entire day. Sorry, I don't have a charger with me. But can I just ask you on that request of yours, the municipal manager, I agree with the municipal manager that the policy must come back. But with all due respect, as the policy stands now, we can meet you in terms of the transfer of those officials from the province. That's fine. But as the policy stands now, you've got to apply the policy. You cannot work outside the parameters of the policy on all other issues in the policy. So my proposal would be, let us approve as it is now, but with a proviso in the recommendation that we say that this policy must come back to council ASAP, and it's for the municipal manager to determine a date, because there's a lot of corrections that need to be made, Mr. MM. Let us make this part of the recommendation to say ASAP, or you can attach a date, and then we can come back for the workshop, Mr. MM, through the Speaker.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. The proposal is Elder Lady Kurtzinger. That's fine. You can do it that way.
Yes. Yes, Speaker.
Yes, Speaker, we can do that proposal. I've got no problem with that. So we approve the amended recommendations as it is before us, and then we ask the MM and the administration to bring it back at a later stage so that we can revisit it and workshop a new policy and with other questions that's on the table. Thank you, Mr. Chair. We'll do that. So I propose that we accept. Thank you.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kretzinger. Are you happy, Elder Lady Gericke? Alderman Gericke, I'm just joking. I'm pulling your leg.
Yeah, I just want to tell you, I've never worn pink in my entire life. I don't know if Mr. Stratu has worn pink before, but not me. I've seen him with a wife and kids there. But all right, they can take me to the Human Rights Commission for that statement now. Speaker, I am fine with that, as the Elder Lady Kretzinger also agrees. But can we just hear from the municipal manager, more or less, let the chief executive of the municipality give us an indication as to when it would be possible to workshop this policy. This is urgent. This is of critical importance.
What I just can say, Alderman Gericke, he just threw his hands up in the air and he just left the chambers. But we'll try to. Thank you, municipal manager. I know it's a process, it's consultation. We do like the number one does in the country. We consult, we move, one step ahead, 2 steps back, 1 step, 2 steps ahead, 1 step back.
Yes, Speaker, we'll prioritize it.
Thank you.
Yeah, Speaker. He's making this noise. Ooh, answer. Speaker?
No, it's not us.
Speaker?
I'm listening. Are you safe, Alderman Gericke? I think, Alderman Gericke. I think.
Speaker, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I know that prioritize is, it's actually broad. But it's fine, I won't push you, but I mean, we've asked for the closest date to workshop this policy. When would be the closest date or the nearest date?
We'll do it at the earliest opportunity, Speaker.
Another broad word, but thanks, that's fine, it's all right. So we can.
For the first quarter in 2021.
I think that's more an appropriate answer. The MM wants to turn me around with some broad words here.
Well, thank you. Good luck.
We'll do it.
Thank you, Alderman Gericke. Can we move then to the E7, the update on the implementation? Sorry, Alderman De Vries.
In the absence, I, in good conscience, can't vote or agree with this. So I was thinking about your rules of order to say that my vote be recorded against it. But I can in good conscience only do that if there's another proposal on the table. So I hereby propose that the policy not be approved.
You don't think that you need to abstain? No, abstain says you don't want to vote on it. I understand the accountability and
no second for my proposal to that have my vote against it be
okay, that's all. Yep, that's fine.
Record, thank you.
We can do that. We do that, and we understand the reason behind it. Thank you.
It goes against the code of conduct to say you can't knowingly vote against something that is.
I understand that. Thank you. Can we take note of the update on the implementation of the Municipal Councillor Pension Fund, resolutions, E7? I can just share with those councillors, in addition to what you've read there, there's huge pressure on the pension fund, that pension fund specifically, to ensure the protection of the interest of councillors. Alderman, I see that Alderman De Vries is most probably a member of that pension fund. I fortunately or unfortunately am not. I joined the consolidated one, and I'm still with Potchefstroom Municipal Pension Fund. Yep. Alderman De Vries.
Yes, I'm a member. I'm also a trustee of this fund. And we warned these councils, and especially Mr. York, who for some reason behave as if he's a member of the pension fund, who for years have misled councillors. Now, councillors are standing, or it's in danger next year that they are not going to be paid out because of the municipalities didn't pay their contribution. So some municipalities are going to have to pay millions if those councillors are going to get the money out. I'm glad that Salga end or this thing is being put to bed, but we warned them in 2007 already that what they're doing is illegal. That's all I want to say. My money is still saved.
That's a tough one. Can we note it, Lady Kitsana?
Yes, Chair. It's a pity because there's a lot of uncertainty that exists with the members of this fund since regarding the contributions and the benefits and what is happening since the fund is under curatorship. We must just trust those that are involved at this stage. Salga, there is a letter from Salga that can be read on page 725. So, and on page 727, I think that we cannot do anything else at this stage but to take note of the recommendation. Thank you.
Can we do that? What I would like to suggest, we can do that if you just listen me out quickly. What happens at the Speakers Forum, we also receive presentations from the administrators every time. It's a standard item on our agenda. What I would like to say is that at our next Speakers Forum, or whenever a further presentation is being made by the administrators of this fund, that the link to the presentation during the Speakers Forum meeting be shared with members, at least of this municipality, so that you can have access to the presentation and that you as members are also allowed to make certain inputs whilst we're having the presentation from the administration at that forum.
Yeah, I think that it's important also for other members of the pension fund in the district. I know there's not a lot because of his campaign in 2011, in fact, the DA's campaign against us. And they lost their only member and I replaced that person. There's politics behind this thing, and unfortunately people were misled. Speaker, I think that a lot of councillors, when they read this, are going to be worried. Okay, so I think it's important, perhaps, if you organize, and I know the creators normally will, if they're invited, they will come, so that we can have engagement, so that members can ask questions, so they can start prepare themselves in terms of exit, especially those of us who's not coming back. So we will start to, so that you know exactly what is there, the process that you must follow in terms of ensuring that you get your money. Thank you.
Can I perhaps suggest from the chair, is that as a district municipality, we take a resolution that the administrators and the curators of this fund be invited to make a presentation, but that we then inform all municipalities within our region to request their members to attend the presentation. It needn't be a council meeting. We can arrange the presentation and invite all councillors within the region of the district municipality to be present. Because I know, how does that sound? Does that work? Yeah, invited members. And then we invite them to a presentation, and we inform all 7 municipalities within our region. You can invite your councillors. We've got a presentation arranged. Is that fine?
Speaker, can you include also then the invite that the officials responsible in the different municipalities and HR that's going to deal with this, that they also be invited? Because that's normally the other fight when it comes to payouts, the misunderstanding from the officials in terms of the processes.
That, Mr. MM, that is true, or can you will discuss it on the municipal managers forum? Thank you. Can we take that as a resolution in addition to taking note? Then you've got something to go back to.
I so propose, Chair.
Thank you, Elder Lady Kitsana. Seconded by Alderman De Vries. Thank you. Can we then invite MM? Sorry.
Speaker, I'm going to request in the interest of time that we don't do the presentation today. The white paper is out, circulated. We'll find an opportune time to engage the councillors on the presentation. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, MM. Is that fine with everyone? My apologies also to our chief.
Yes.
That is also prepared for this presentation. Everybody involved in that as well. Our Executive Manager, Mr. Clive Africa as well. Please accept our apologies and that we just, this stage in time, take note of the white paper, but that we will further be educated on this matter. Because politically, Mr. Executive Mayor, I think we also, from our side, as councillors, we need to be firemen when we can get confronted with this issue in future.
Apologies accepted, Speaker. Thanks.
Thank you. That is accepted then. Can we then move to the F2, the update report on the COVID-19, District COVID-19 Command Council on the COVID-19 pandemic. I'm just glad I'm not staying in Germany or France or Spain. I saw last night, I always hop channels between Al Jazeera. Perhaps at times I look at Biden and Trump when I need some humor in my life. I do that. Sometimes I love Russia news. That's very excellent. So, but I'm just glad I'm not a German. Although I'm from German, I can say Kumoti, but they say I'm also from Germany somewhat. Whoever was there. But yeah, would you like Mr. Otto to give us a just a overview? It's very important. We cannot take COVID-19 lightly. Still, and thank you again for the updates that we received regularly, also the communication section. For all the updates that we received, we really congratulate and thank you, MM, and the communication section. They are doing excellent work. I find it as a Boomse and Ms. Veldkornet and Herman, all of them. We really appreciate what they do. We receive, even on a Sunday evening, we receive messages. So I hope they've got good pets at home to comfort them. But thank you. Can we move on the COVID-19 one? Thank you, Mr. Gerard Otto.
Speaker, yes, thank you very much. Good afternoon, councillors and Mayor. From my side, yeah, we are not moving in the right direction. You would see in the information that I've provided to you that yeah, we're still climbing and our COVID figures is not moving in the right direction. For this point in time, the area of concern is George, and you will see that over the last month, George has increased with active cases of 89 additional cases, which brings their total now to 3,901. And of those, we've still got active cases in George of 208 as of today. So what we have decided to is to focus our awareness campaign in George on taxi ranks, as well as to visit the taverns and bars and to have one-on-one engagements with these owners to make them aware of the prevailing COVID-19 threat, and to try and convince them to also do the right thing and adhere to the health protocols. So in terms of that, if I look at our district now, I did include the latest figures, but I will just quickly give you the active cases, which I think is important for each of the towns. Active cases in Oudtshoorn now is 39, Bito 14, Knysna 48, active cases George 208, Mossel Bay 46, Hesequa 12, and Kannaland 8, which brings the total to 375. And then also reflecting on the fatalities in the district, in Oudtshoorn to date, deaths is 106, Bito 24, 51 in Knysna, 114 in George, 71 Mossel Bay, 19 Hesequa, and 2 in Kannaland, which brings us to a total of 387. And if we look at that compared to the beginning of this month, there's 28 additional deaths this month. I've included to you the graphs as well, so that you can see what's happening. And what we've also looked at this point in time is what is what do we can plan for coming in this season. We've asked Dr. Klute a couple of questions, and I'll reflect on this just quickly. We all want to know, will this virus follow the same pattern as any other flu virus? At this point, it was indicated to us it's a novel virus. They cannot tell us now if it's going to look better in summer, but because it's a novel virus. Secondly, how long will it still be with us? I think it's important for us to note that the manufacture of a vaccine that is reliably tested can take up to 18 to 24 months. So yes, it's going to be with us specifically now, also planning in terms of the local government elections. It will be with us also in the local government election period. And then in terms of reinfection, it is possible to be reinfected, but it is a very rare occurrence. But yes, it is possible to be reinfected. We did also provide local municipalities with a guideline in terms of preparing for the reopening of public pools. And we've asked them to beef up their COVID-19 awareness, specifically looking at the coming summer season and what we're going to do in that regard on our beaches. And then lastly, good news is that SASSA has indicated that the 350 relief grant payments will continue until January next year. And we've also received notification that 10 million is being made available to the Department of Social Development, and that'll be rolled out to assist further projects where it's needed, where people need food, specifically at soup kitchens, etc., in the whole of the Western Cape. So we've provided them with all our soup kitchens, the information of that for the district, so that we can see that enough funding also comes the way of the Garden Route district. Thank you. Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Otto, for you and your team, Mr. Africa, and then for doing a brilliant job in extremely difficult times for very long. It's like this is a war, and the war just continues and carries on. And the terrible stuff is that we cannot see the foe. Ons kan nie die vyand sien nie. So every time we create a new weapon, invent a new weapon, it pops up. So thank you so much for the presentation. Any questions on this matter? Alderman De Vries.
Thank you, Speaker, and thank you for the
update. And then Alderman van der Hoeven. Thank you, Alderman De Vries.
Speaker, I think that in one of the meetings that I was given, and then I know that the approach of the municipal manager in those present was that to go on education program, awareness program, because I think the police reported that it's very difficult to find people or even businesses. But my concern that I want to raise is about businesses. Now I understand that we will concentrate on where we see a spike or increase. In fact, some people say it's a slight increase, but it's an increase. But I think that we should also do well. It's important that we don't forget the other towns that are currently not concerned, because it is going to happen there also. And I'm speaking about personal experiences. I went to a big supermarket in Iceland. We were closed twice because of COVID-19. And I had to speak to the manager. He said, but we don't have any sanitizers outside the trolleys. You only have a wipe. Always. And only after speaking to the manager, then they were shouting at people to go and find something in the store. I went to a restaurant. There was no sanitizer in front. Yeah. Not one of the waiters had the mask, and including also the owner. And they were serving people. Now, I know, I'm not sure what is the, what do you call it, the measures, especially when it comes to businesses, that can be imposed where they don't comply. But I think that we don't always want to have the stick. So I think that the same approach where in George, because there's a increase, we should actually do that and continue to do that in all down. But some way people will have to pay for what they're doing. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Swab. Yeah, that is also some of the experience. Alderman Executive Meyer, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Alderman De Vries is correct. And it is something that has been dealt with on an extended cabinet level. Just to add to that, it's also that right in the beginning, there were actually warm bodies administering the regulations. Now you'll find that there is the thingy that you put your foot on, which means there's nobody policing that. It is optional. Some people just walk past it, you know. But I think probably by this coming week we will have feedback on what would be the measures regarding the issues being raised where people have now slowed down on adhering to these things. But you spot on, Councillor Fries. Thank you.
Alderman van der Werven.
Thank you, Speaker. It takes time for me to unmute myself. Sorry for that. Speaker, number one, the district command center and the leadership of Mr. Africa and Mr. Otto must once again be thanked for what they're doing. They're doing an excellent job. Unfortunately, there are so many counterproductive systems out there. The other evening, 2 days ago, I went to, on Wednesday and on Thursday, I went, or was it on to an Eden FM debate, a political debate on the by-elections. They were brilliant inside. They were having social distance, and when you come in, but outside, it was a storm. People were pushing and shoving each other. So it countered what was done inside. It doesn't help. You've got the best practices inside the venue, but outside people are fighting with each other. They're shouting each other without masks. They breaching every code that there is. And that is not just happening there. It's all over. Inside the shops, it's 100%. And they make sure that when you're in the queue, you that social distance is kept and everything is fine. But out there in the public, there is no social distance. People doesn't wear masks. People seems that they are under the impression that the threat is past, that the threat is over. And it's not the case. Also, I see people coming in, they put on their masks, but then they touch their faces. It is as if there is not a proper understanding of how things are operating. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Alderman van der Werven. Anybody else on this matter? Thank you. We noted with concern, and we recommit ourselves. We need the economy in our towns and cities to recover. We cannot again have a level where we, like in Germany, where you were only allowed to travel for 30 meters, 30, from your house. And that is to get medicine. That's all. For 3 months. So, do we really want that? No. Thank you so much. Can we move to section G? There's nothing from the Roads and Transport Planning Service Department on the agenda. Thank you. The wheels are still turning. Thank you. Section H, items from the Planning and Economic Development Department. H1, debt relief for tenants making use of Garden Route District Municipality properties at the resorts. We all received an email with the attachments. Have you read it? It was sent by Rihanna Matthews, and I don't know how she does it. She always looks as if she gets enough sleep, but I always see Rihanna Matthews. Zoop, zoop, zoop. 3 items. Dear Councillors, report on the debt relief for tenants. H2 was placed on the agenda for the council meeting today. The report writer requested that I forward the attachments for your notification. Thank you, Rihanna. You got it, councillors? There's a double affidavit, there's a Matembo affidavit, and there's a documentation that been scanned. You saw that? You see that? That's still easy. Councillor Spies.
I'm sorry, Speaker, I don't see that email, and I'm actually just on Rihanna's email.
Was
But
said-
what influence does the attachments have on the item? Just This is just affidavits that says we are in trouble.
Can we have the promoter or the author of this report respond to that, please? Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. No, it's just attachments that are amplifying the report because we erroneously forgot to attach affidavits because we had they had to make confirmation. You recall that when lockdown was in, and then there was some relief that was given to some businesses, and they've indicated that they've applied and then they never received any form of relief. Therefore, hence they are requesting this exemption from the municipality.
Thank you. I've got Alderman van der Hoeven, Councillor Johnson, Councillor Spies. I'm sorry, Councillor Spies, I can't read your mouth. Can't read your lips.
What I'm saying is you recognized me first and then you interrupted me with a matter that needed clarity. And now you want to put me at the back of the line because I needed clarity.
Your speaker is useless. I'm sorry for that.
I'm gonna ask Virgil to come and deal with.
My apologies.
Speaker, I would like to understanding what Mr. Menzi just explained. So there is no, I don't have any further questions about tariffs and other support that these businesses had. I just like to express that at the beginning we offered these opportunities to businesses as an opportunity, not as a brick and a chain around their necks. Unfortunately, that's where they are now. So I support the relief suggested. My concern is that the new tourism season is only now starting. I'm not so sure that these guys have gotten any step up in the last month. I'm not sure how effective or how big the upcoming season is going to be. So I'd like to suggest that we approve this and review the situation again at the end of January or middle of February. I don't know what it is, but my suspicion is that people are going to need more help if they don't get it from National Treasury in a SARS relief package somehow. Thank you. And I propose that we approve as is.
Thank you, Councillor Spies. Councillor Johnson and then Alderman van der Hoeven.
Speaker, yeah, I will second the proposal that Councillor Spies made. And my thought around is that we can, as long as COVID does exist, that we will make this that this item be a standing item regarding the COVID relief for small businesses or that has been leasing from the garden route. As Councillor Spies stated, we don't know when when the COVID season will end and how long it will last. The extension we should rather put in to up the period for December and or to January. Seeing the second wave of COVID is already in the garden route area, and we need to be vigilant about this as well, Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Councillor Johnson. Alderman van der Hoeven, Alderman de Vries.
Speaker, number one, there's a saying in Afrikaans, jy kan nie almal onder dieselfde kam skeer nie. And I'm sure in English it is, you can't shave everyone under the same comb. Now, there are certain businesses who benefited from COVID. Like for instance, the mask fabrication businesses, whatever. They are businesses. Now we are saying all businesses. We must do a proper research, not research, proper indication. There must be a proper indication which businesses are suffering and give them more, those who suffer the most. But it's not all fits for everyone. It's not what one fits all need. So we'll have to check on that. That is my input.
That Alderman Verhoeven, that is number one. Do you have a number two, or must we first respond to your number one?
I am finished and clear now. I am finished and clear. I think it's good what we're doing. It's brilliant, but we can't just deal with it as a one fits all.
Yeah, one fits doesn't all sizes. One size doesn't fit all. Thank you, Councillor Spies. Alderman, no, ek is nou bang vir hy skerp Spies dat ek. Okay, it's Alderman de Vries and then Councillor Spies.
Yeah, and he complained that you never give me the wrong answer.
Ek is besig om sy skerp Spies stomp te maak. Ek is jammer daaroor.
Speaker, I think yes, we support this, that we approve it as is. But I will agree with the chief that as we move forward, because we talk about people renting our properties. Now, with tourism related, yes, but there's other people that just pure agriculture. Now, agriculture never closed. Supermarkets and those providing to supermarkets, they actually are a game in the whole process, especially when people were panicking. So I think that in the next round, we must make sure that we actually look at that. The tourism ones, they're not going to pick up very soon. But I think for the next round, we must check in terms of who do we extend this to. Because in the same way that ordinary people can complain that we are not benefiting, but you are only looking at business. But I think it's important because a lot of them are employment creators and that's key to families. So for now, yes, we agree, but I think when we do that next time when it comes back, we must look in terms of those.
Thank you, Alderman. Councillor Spies.
Oh, I just wanted to suggest that we deal with the matters that have financial implications connected to them now, and that that when we come back, we consider a percentage discount on, I don't know who the financial gurus here are who is going to lead us with that type of discussion, but that is the next round of consideration.
Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you, Councillor Spies. Can we accept it as such? Can we then move to, let me turn the page. H2, Salga National Executive Committee rotational engagement. Mr. Executive Mayor, would you like to respond to that, or is it Mr. Menze? Executive Mayor, thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we will remember the President in the State of the Nation's address, where he emphasized on empowering and resourcing district municipalities, where he actually went as far as introducing the district development model. And out of that, Mr. Speaker, we were fortunate in the sense that the President earmarked us in the Western Cape to play a crucial role in his vision. And he then also, he was scheduled to come and pay the Garden Route a visit in June this year, but because of lockdown, he could not. And this is a preparation, Mr. Speaker, from the NEC to come and assess the Garden Route. And then also they would then brief the presidency, because the intention is still that as soon as the conditions are better and the traveling arrangements and the COVID figures, the president is still geared to come and pay us a visit. So this will be a foundation for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Executive Mayor. Any further input on this matter? Shine. We'll shine. We'll support. Alderman Thank you, Alderman.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. The Chief Whip have just reminded me that it happens with these kind of things, Mr. Speaker, because it is the first of its kind. So we will not have the full financial implications, etc., etc. We're saying this, that our CFO must be flexible and you must be ready as soon as we get the full itinerary on how this would take shape. We will then communicate to Joacha and he must be ready. And it is also part of intergovernmental relations, but the main aim is to prepare for the president's arrival. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's it. May I then take this opportunity to thank everyone for FASPATE, for hanging in there, for the lively contributions, the debates, for the manner in which we shared ideas. I really appreciate it. You made my work easy as a speaker, as always. My apologies for those that I didn't recognize timelessly or whatever the case may be. It's never my intention. But thank you so much for your time. And thank you also for the very well preparedness before you come to the council chambers, and that you don't open your council agenda for the first time when you get into the chambers and when you switch on to the link. Thank you so much for that. I could clearly see councillors that have prepared for this meeting, that read the agendas, because it's a lot of time and effort that goes into the submission and the compilation of an agenda or a report. I once had a executive of mine I worked with about 25, 30 mayors in my lifetime. The one said, it's easy, man, you just press the button. But somebody must press the button. And underneath that button, there must be work done. It's not a matter of just pressing the button. It's hard work that goes into the compilation of an agenda. I see other lady Kritzinger, your team that prepares it for us, everybody, my good advocate next to me, our secretariat, Jana, all of you, my good advocate next to me, everybody that played the part to make us functional. We really appreciate you a lot, Executive Mayor, Chief of our Executive and our political head. Thank you so much to everyone. I now invite you for a late lunch, and I hope you enjoy it. Thank you.
Thank you, Speaker. Goodbye, everybody. Have a lovely weekend.
Bye-bye. Bye, Amal.
Bye-bye. Tata.
Thank you, everybody.
Bye. Bye-bye. Stay safe all.